bowling experiences. I was raised on a very particular form of bowling called candlepin bowling, which is something that you find in New England. It's different in the regular bowling in that the pins are very, very skinny and the ball is small. It's about the size of a grapefruit. I like bowling in all of its forms. I've even done lawn bowling before. I made a video about that on my YouTube. It's at Funny Jones. I say all this to say that I have some bowling experience, and I'm wondering because the people that I see during my bowling experiences, I don't think would look good naked. That's just, now I'm not trying to be prejudiced here against regular bowlers, but they don't look like the kind of people you want to see with no clothes on. But this sounds like it could be a lot of fun. It's being held by Pittsburgh area naturalists. They are hosting this event called Balls Out Bowling, where you can show up and bowl in the nude. It's going to be held at the Crafton Ingram Lanes in Pittsburgh next month. The event is for anyone over the age of 18 who wants to bowl naked. Nudity is required, of course, at the nude bowling experience, with the exception that women apparently can wear bottoms. So the women can wear some bottoms. They say sexual activity is not permitted at the Balls Out Bowling event. No sexual activity, but I don't know, would you consider polishing some balls a sexual activity? The people running the event say that nudism does not equal consent and harassment. Well, hold on. I think they put an extra not in here. I think what they meant to say was nudism does not equal consent and harassment will not be taken lightly. Violators of this will be asked to leave. So don't think you can show up at the Balls Out Bowling event and do anything weird. All right? You gotta conduct yourself with respect, and no photography or video is allowed either. I'm wondering if they still require shoes during the bowling event. All naked, but the bowling shoes. You have to bowl with those shoes. It's pretty important. It's going to look pretty absurd, though, being completely naked but having bowling shoes on. In fact, having just the shoes on kind of makes you look more naked. It makes you look like you're naked on purpose, really. And you can run around naked. A naked person with shoes, you're like, oh, you're naked, and you can also move really fast with those shoes on. All right, I'm going into some strange places here. All right, I just went to the event page to learn a little bit more about Balls Out Naked Bowling. It's going to take place Sunday, April 28th, right after church. It's going to be at the Crafton Ingram Lanes in Pittsburgh. The hours are 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., so they're doing it's kind of an early night here. I guess naturalists need to get to bed early. Or maybe that leaves them time to get to the post-Balls Out Naked Bowling orgy that they no doubt will be having, right? It says here the tickets are $25. It says, get ready to get naked and have a blast at Balls Out Bowling, the ultimate naked bowling experience. Balls Out Bowling is for anyone who loves to have fun and show off their skills in the buff. Join us for an unforgettable night of bowling, music, and some good times. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a beginner, this event is perfect for you. You'll be able to bowl your heart out with friends and strangers alike. But this isn't just any ordinary bowling night. We'll have music blasting, drinks flowing. There will be prizes to be won. So grab your friends. Yeah, grab your friends. Put on your bowling shoes and get ready to go balls out. Of course, nudity is required, with the exception that women can wear bottoms. Please bring a towel. I suppose that's for the plastic bowling seats that everybody sits on. You want to have a towel down there. You don't want to leave streaks, I'd imagine. Now, I'm wondering if this is the right nude sporting event. Let's just unpack this a little bit. It's just because, I don't know. When you're bowling, you sort of contort your body in some strange places that just may not look very appetizing on a naked person. I'm just putting that out there. Although, I don't know, maybe people enjoy that. Great form, Greg. A nice anal cavity. Because you're going to see everything. People are bending over when they're releasing that ball. Now, when I was reading this article, I was wondering to myself, what other nude sporting events are there out there in the world? I did a quick little Google. I found this article called 5 Nude Sporting Events Around the World. The first one here is called Hadaka Matsuri. It's a well-known naked celebration in Japan. It takes place on the 3rd Saturday of February every year at a temple in Okayama. In this 500-year-old ritual, more than 9,000 men and boys sprint to a shrine while wearing nothing but white loincloths. Oh, yeah, this is that naked event I believe I covered last month. There's also here the Maslin Beach Nude Olympics. First began in 1983. This is in Australia. There's about 500 competitors every year competing in events including the sack race, 3-legged race, tug-of-war, frisbee throwing, and best bum contest. We also have here the naked snow sledding competition. This sledding contest in the town of Altenburg, Eastern Germany, is a topless imitation of a winter sport. The annual event, which is put on by a radio station, includes 13 men and 12 women competing for the title of Nachtradmeister, or what's known as Champion of the Nude Sledding. Oh, there's also a big cash prize of $1,000. They also have the World Naked Bike Ride. Since 2004, naked bike riders have been taking over city streets from London to Paris to Washington, D.C. It is all coordinated under the World Naked Bike Ride banner to promote and increase awareness of alternative modes of transportation to harmful greenhouse gas emissions. So sounds like a fun event and for a good cause as well. These are some of the naked sporting events around the world. I haven't participated in any of these. Maybe I should. Have any of you participated in any of these nude events? I'd love to hear from you and your experience. Call the show, 646-450-2012. Get naked. Get bowling. Meet the man who's consumed over 34,000 Big Macs and counting. We have this Wisconsin man. He has the world record of eating McDonald's Big Macs in a lifetime. Just this past week, he passed 34,000 Big Macs. This guy's like the LeBron James of Big Macers. His name is Don Gorski. He's a 70-year-old retired prison officer. He ate his first Big Mac in 1972 and has since been obsessed with the iconic McDonald's burger by eating 34,128 of them total for over a half a century here, according to the Guinness Book of World Records. He first achieved the actual record in 1999. He's kept the record all this time. Here's a quote from Don Gorski. This guy's a maniac. Have we checked his blood pressure? I'm concerned. Don says, quote, "Many people thought I'd been dead by now, but instead I've been a record holder for my 24th year. So proud. One of Guinness World Records' longest running record holders. Yeah, I'm proud of that. That's pretty cool to me." Wow, it's like a miracle that this guy hasn't just keeled over, huh? 70 years old, still going, eating what, like 2 Big Macs a day for 50 years? How? How, bro? He must do yoga, I'd imagine. Life is so unfair. Like, I've known healthy people. They don't smoke, they eat right, and they just die suddenly. And then there's these people that smoke every day, they eat terrible, and then they just somehow keep going. It's crazy. Now, this guy, Don's been eating the Big Macs since May 17th, 1972. That was when he had his first Big Mac, apparently. He says, quote, "In that moment, I told myself, I'm going to probably eat these things for the rest of my life. I threw the cartons in the back seat, and then I started counting them. I started counting these Big Macs from day one." And Don has, since that fateful day, eaten Big Macs, tons of them. He's collected every container and receipt from all of his Big Mac purchases. Where do you put all these containers, Don? Does he have like a storage unit of just Big Mac containers and receipts? It's unbelievable. Now, it says here, Don even has a wife. Wow, this woman's very tolerant to a particular lifestyle. Can you imagine living with a man that eats Big Macs all day, every day? He probably smells like a Big Mac. Wow, this woman's amazing. I'm going to McDonald's. Will you want anything, honey? Again? Yep. 50 years and counting, honey. Now, apparently, Don actually proposed to his wife in a McDonald's parking lot. That seems appropriate. She's been very supportive of her husband's Big Mac passion. Don says, quote, "My wife has put up with a lot of obsessive compulsive things that I do and hasn't let my Big Mac thing get to her at all." Yeah, but I'd imagine you can't store all the cartons in the house, though. She probably draws the line there. I would love to know where these cartons are. Does he have a shed out back? Now, in case you're curious, as I am, to some of other Don's lifestyle characteristics, it says here Don walks 6 miles a day to help keep that physique. In addition to eating fewer Big Macs a day to be a little bit healthier, he doesn't eat breakfast at all, and he does not eat any of McDonald's fries. All right. Yeah, those fries aren't very good for you, I'd imagine, but I don't think the Big Macs are either. Don says that he may have an evening snack sometimes, such as a fruit bar, ice cream, or potato chips, but mostly his diet consists of eating the Big Macs. Here's another quote from Don, who's very proud of his physique. He says, "I'm healthy as a horse, man. I weigh 190 pounds and my cholesterol is 165. You know, I'm better than normal." Now, apparently the local McDonald's that Don has eaten most of his Big Macs at have even put up a sign commemorating Mr. Gorski's 50th anniversary. It was later posted to the Guinness World Records website as well. It says, "Congrats, Don, on 50 years of Macs." Now, when asked if he'll ever retire from eating these Big Macs, Don replied, "Well, I don't think so. When I like something, I stick with it all the time." Yeah, I think Don has something called obsessive-compulsive disorder, but that's fine. It's led to this amazing record, which I doubt will ever be broken, especially seeing as the price of Big Macs seems to go up every year as well. I am wondering, though, on a physiological standpoint, how we're really doing in that body of his. Because if your cells get replaced over time gradually, and all you're eating are Big Macs, you're only putting Big Macs in your body. Eventually, your body is just made up completely of Big Mac-produced cells, right? I am become Big Mac. More Big Mac. Me, Big Mac man. I can see a movie about this guy, huh? Okay, it also says here, since he retired from his prison job, Don doesn't drive himself to McDonald's every day. Instead, he buys Big Macs in large batches about twice a week. It says here, Don will eat a fresh Big Mac when he picks up his order, and then will microwave the rest at home when he's hungry. Oh, Don's very committed. He's not even eating them fresh. He's eating microwaved Big Macs, which I can't imagine are that great. There's some foods that just are not okay microwaved. I think the burgers from these fast food places fall into that category. Pizza, yeah, you can microwave some pizza, throw them in the oven. The burgers, though, I'm not sure, but Don does it. Doesn't eat much else either, it says. It says Don even tried a Whopper from Burger King once in 1984, and he decided, nah, gonna remain loyal to the burger from the Golden Arches. Yay! In Norway, many people are addicted to nasal sprays. Norway is apparently facing an unexpected health crisis, as a staggering 700,000 people have found themselves tangled in the grip of addiction, not to any illegal substances. Instead, they're addicted to over-the-counter nasal sprays, a common remedy for nasal congestion. As per the Norwegian Institute of Public Health, the sales of over-the-counter nasal sprays have exhibited a consistent upward trend in recent years. In 2022 alone, the total number of packs sold for mucosa decongestant nasal spray reached a notable 9 million. This addiction, they say, is very expensive and disruptive for individuals such as Gula, a 22-year-old who has shared her struggles on social media. She describes a claustrophobic, suffocating feeling if she fails to use the nasal spray consistently throughout the day and night. The damage done to her mucous membranes means she is actually unable to breathe properly without constant relief from these nasal sprays. Oh yes, this is nothing new. I've met several people that have inculcated the nasal spray into their lifestyle on a daily basis. It seems to me that they can't even breathe without it. I don't know how this comes about. In the story here, we have a physician named Sverre Stensvag. Sverre Stensvag works at a hospital in southern Norway. And Sverre Stensvag has been paying close attention to this recent phenomenon. He has researched the effects of nasal sprays and why people are becoming addicted to these. It says here, in addition to what seems to be a problem in Norway, there are doctors in the U.S. that are also concerned. They estimate that the number of people that might be addicted to nasal sprays in America approaches the 10 million mark. According to physicians across the world, they are criticizing the nasal spray industry for taking advantage of their addicted nature in order to keep business booming, as it is a, quote, well-regarded fact that chemical nasal sprays can be as addictive as morphine, they say. The other problem is most of these nasal sprays can be purchased without a prescription, and this makes it difficult to record how many people are actually buying them and how many people are actually addicted to them. It does say here that the popularity of these nasal sprays has even prompted questions about the reasons behind their addictive nature. The active ingredients, oxymetazoline or xylometazoline, I don't know, did I say that right? Probably not. Anyways, these ingredients attack mucous membranes, slowing down the blood supply. Acting as topical decongestants and vasoconstrictor medications, they cause the nasal tissues to shrink, reducing swelling and congestion. They provide quick relief for nasal congestion associated with conditions such as colds or allergies. However, symptoms return after a few hours when the blood supply reaches the nasal membranes once again, causing them to swell. So unfortunately, rather than treat the underlying causes of such nasal congestion, these sprays only mask the symptoms for a short period, hence causing a reliability on them to simply breathe. So it doesn't sound like an addiction so much as it's a real dependence, especially if you can't breathe. Then you got to get a prescription for breathing. I got a 3-month subscription for breathing. I'm going to have to re-up that because I probably want to continue breathing for the rest of my years. So sad. Now, it also says Sverre Stensvag's research warns against the prolonged use of mucosal decongestant nasal sprays because of the risk of rebound congestion. This phenomenon occurs when nasal passages become more congested when the medication is discontinued. If the spray is used every day for more than 10 consecutive days, an inflammation of the nasal mucosa will occur and the user will become dependent. Professor Stensvag and his team are conducting a study with 200 Norwegian patients to compare the effects of saline nasal sprays with a hypertonic solution from seawater that will reduce the swelling of the nasal mucosa. The objective is to provide patients with a withdrawal process that is more manageable than saline sprays that have those other chemicals in it. Well, it sounds like they have a plan, at least, to address this in Norway. In the U.S., they'll just arrest you. That's how we handle addictions here. Are you on drugs? Put him in jail. So stupid. You're sick, man. You need help. You're addicted. Nah, man. I just really enjoy breathing through my nose. Well, I'm not surprised to learn about this nasal spray addiction situation. In Western medicine, doctors are in such a hurry to get you in and out of the office. They often don't really get to the bottom of the health issue that you have. They just sort of write you a quick prescription so you can go mask the symptoms and get some short-term relief. But in the long term, you really got to find out what's going on in there. Why can't you breathe? And fix that issue. Otherwise, the fallout of this is you just become addicted to nasal sprays, and can't have that. And obviously in this country, it seems to be an epidemic. But I think if we were to dig deeper into the numbers, we would find more and more people all over the world are addicted to these nasal sprays. And they're kind of, I got to admit, I like them sometimes, man. You ever been in a party and the guy next to you's got that nasal spray? You're like, hey, man, give me a hit of that, man. I didn't know this was going to be that kind of party. I'll trade you an Adderall for 10 hits out of your nasal spray. Come on, man. Hey, what's up, my friends and loyal listeners of the Weird AF News podcast? Thank you for spending some time with me in this episode. I want to let everybody know that I'm grateful for your time And I appreciate all the emails and messages I've gotten. Someone even bought me some coffees off my website, weirdafnews.com. Addie Anderson bought coffees. Addie joined the Patreon a couple days ago. Now Addie, she's buying me coffees too, guys. I mean, unbelievable supporter of Weird AF News. Does it get any better than that? Addie Anderson bought me some coffees and wrote me a lovely note. It says, Jonesy, I've been listening for years as part of my morning routine as I do my makeup. I didn't even think about the fact that you would shout me out in the podcast when I joined the Patreon. But when you did, the dopamine hit was awesome. So here is some dopamine for you. Enjoy. P.S. No one ever says my name right, so thank you. And I'm female. Bonus points for you, Jonesy, for your use of gender-neutral terms, though. And then she wrote me, she had a nice little emoji with hearts. Oh, so sweet. This really made me happy. Thank you so much, Addie Anderson, for joining the Patreon and then buying me coffees as well as a follow-up and leaving me this lovely note. I mean, that just made me smile. You guys can buy me coffees like Addie Anderson did. You can join the Patreon, as she has done as well, by going to weirdafnews.com. You can do all of those things on the homepage. Click on the little coffee cup. There's a coffee cup banner on the homepage. There's a Patreon one too. And there's a PayPal button there. It's like a PayPal symbol. You can click on that and you can give Jonesy a donation if you want to contribute to the in-closet production that we have going on over here in Los Angeles. Anyways, I'm just very, very grateful for all the support. Another way you can support the show if you don't have any extra funds is just tell a friend. Tell a friend about the Weird AF News podcast. Somebody that you think that this weird news might bring something to their life. You know, maybe they listen to the mainstream news every day and it makes them sad. And then you're like, hey, man, you can finish up your news lineup with the Weird AF News podcast, which doesn't make you feel so sad. In fact, you might laugh a few times. If anything, you can appreciate the weird news that Jonesy curates from all around the world. And on Friday, it's only weird news from Florida, and everybody loves that, right? It's fun to make fun of Florida for an afternoon, I think. Anyways, that's about the end of my due diligence. If you guys would like to call the show, the number is 646-450-2012. If you want to email me some articles that you've come across that you think are very weird and very appropriate for the podcast, feel free to do so. funnyjones@gmail.com. Also, if you're going to send me something, please say hello. Introduce yourself. Tell me where you live. I love to learn about my listeners. Where are they? How did you find the podcast? I'm very curious, and I love to interact with my listeners as well, as many of you know, because many of you have messaged me. Anyways, I appreciate you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good luck with your life, man. A funeral home owner is arrested after a corpse lay inside a hearse for 2 years. Missouri law says that pregnant women cannot get divorced, and a man was arrested for trying to buy a Porsche with a $78 million check. These are the weird stories for Monday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast in the vast galaxy. A funeral home director is arrested after a corpse lay in a hearse for 2 years. Some people forget and leave the stove on. This guy forgets that there's a dead body in a car for 2 years. Maybe he had a reason to leave the body in the car. Perhaps the family of the deceased stiffed him on the funerary payments. You know, maybe they were buried under all kinds of debt. You know, we need to dig out the rest of this story. Guys, the puns, the dead body puns that I'm doing at the top of this episode. I mean, come on. Are you going to get better dead body puns than this? No. And inside a closet, no less. I mean, what a loser I am. The story's out of the state of Colorado, which has questionable funeral home procedures, it sounds like. Funeral home owner is accused of keeping a woman's corpse in the back of a hearse for 2 years. They used the word keeping as though it was on purpose. Maybe it was on purpose. I don't know. I don't know why you would purposely leave a body inside a car. That's just going to ruin your car. From my understanding, hearses are pretty damn expensive. And you just ruin your hearse because, ooh, that smell. Can't you smell that smell? Ooh, that smell. It's a corpse that's been in there for 2 years. I don't know. I was trying to wrap up that song. And better than that. They're not all winners, guys. I'll tell you right now, he's not going to be able to sell that hearse. It's going to take a lot of air fresheners to clean that out. In addition to leaving the body in the back of a hearse for 2 years, this guy is accused of hoarding the cremated remains of 35 people. Hoarding the cremated remains? Why would you do such a thing? Just seems like bad business. My question is, what did he give the families of those deceased if he's hoarding the actual cremated remains? He just dumped out some of his ashtrays into an urn and gave it to them? This guy's shady. Miles Harford is his name, 33-year-old. In his mugshot, he's smiling the smile of a psychopath. Are we sure that this is all he did with the bodies? He has the smile of someone who did more than this to the bodies. I'm going to keep reading, but I'm afraid to do so. This is the latest allegation of misconduct by Colorado funeral home owners. There's been a bunch of them, apparently. I guess the key takeaway here is don't die in Colorado if you can avoid it. They've discovered a string of misconduct by funeral home owners that includes the discovery of nearly 200 decomposing bodies in a bug-infested funeral home facility last year. I believe I covered that on the podcast. The horrifying finds have underscored the laxness of state funeral home regulations and pressed lawmakers to try to strengthen these funeral home laws. So another thing to note, if you're going to die in Colorado because you don't have a choice, oftentimes we don't have a choice where we're going to die, donate your body to science because you don't want these funeral homes to get a hold of it. Who knows what's going to happen? This woman here was a deceased 63-year-old, and her body was discovered in the hearse during a court-ordered eviction search at this man's home. While searching the property, police opened the door of the hearse to a foul odor, seeing the outline of the human body seemingly strapped to the gurney and covered by blankets, according to the arrest affidavit. In addition, as I said earlier, they discovered hoarded cremains, which appear to be those of individuals who died from 2012 to 2021. The funeral home has been closed since September of 2022. That explains why the corpse has been in there for 2 years. A warrant lists potential charges of abuse of a corpse, forgery of the death certificate, and theft of the money paid for the woman's cremation. This guy was just pocketing the money and bouncing from his funeral home operation. What a POS, guys. POS, you know what that stands for? It stands for a piece of skata, for those of you who speak Greek. Any Greek listeners? Authorities were able to establish the identity of 18 of the individual cremains, thankfully. Police also discovered online reviews of the funeral home with a number of complaints. Families cited poor communication from the funeral home in giving back the remains of their loved ones. One family said they received ashes in an urn labeled with the wrong name. So there were some red flags on this particular funeral home, but it sounds like in Colorado, it's tough to crack down on such operations. You really got to have your ducks in order when you're running a funeral home. You can't exactly be, what do they call those, procrastinators? Nah, that's not great as a job description, working at a funeral home. Man, I really got to get that corpse out of the car tomorrow. 2 years later, I seriously need to get that corpse out of the car tomorrow. I'm trying to find a silver lining here. At least this maniac with the smiling mugshot didn't do any unsavory things with the bodies. That's the difference between a story out of Colorado and a story out of Florida. A Missouri law says that a pregnant woman cannot get divorced. As America gets one step closer to Handmaid's Tale, am I right? As it stands, Missouri judges can't legally finalize a divorce if a woman happens to be pregnant. There's other states with similar laws. Did you know that? This is all new to me. I've never gotten anybody pregnant. And now I can't get anybody pregnant, thankfully. We have Texas, Arizona, Arkansas, in addition to Missouri. While a couple can still file for divorce in Missouri, the court must wait until after a woman gives birth in order to finalize child custody and child support. When it comes to domestic violence, unfortunately, there's no exceptions. Oh, this is where it gets ugly. Okay. So you've been abused. Sorry, you're pregnant. You got to stick around. You got to take the child to term. Also, no abortions, as you know. If conservatives were really to have their way, they would love to turn the clock back to the days when women were just breeding house slaves. Am I right? A woman can't be pregnant without an owner. Come on now. We have a quote here from a Democrat named Ashley. She says, It just doesn't make sense in 2024. Ashley is taking action, though. She's not just sitting on her fingers and complaining. She's not just writing nasty things about this rule online. She introduced a bill that essentially says pregnancy cannot prevent a judge from finalizing a divorce or a separation. She says, quote, "I just want moms in difficult situations to get out of it if they need to." Now, Ashley admits that while the law was made with good intentions originally, such as making sure the children are taken care of, she feels it needs to be updated to reflect modern times. Yeah, I'd imagine many decades ago when the law was put into place, they just wanted to make sure that husbands couldn't abandon their pregnant wives. But now, lifestyles have changed and evolved, and the laws should reflect that. What we want is options. We just need options, as many choices as possible. This is the key. Choices, guys, choices. And in a lot of these conservative communities, they've done away with choices, it seems, which is very sad. What we really want is a choice for women who are in undesirable situations to get out of such situations. And there is some data to back this up as far as women being abused while they're pregnant. A report from Missouri's Department of Health and Senior Services says out of 10,000 women surveyed between 2007 and 2014, about 5% were abused either before or during pregnancy, which equates to roughly 500 women. Now, I mean, this kind of gives you a glimpse, but it'd be nice to have some updated stats. So many stats are really old, and like, how useful are they? I mean, this is from 2007 to 2014. Yeah, thanks. Can we get some stats from like 3 years ago even? Man, data, guys, it's not too hard. Now, it says here, Ashley's bill is a work in progress, and despite her passion to change the law, she said she doesn't feel hopeful it'll get to Governor Mike Parson's desk this session. Still, the Missouri Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence considered it a top priority for them to ensure that women can get out of such situations if they need to. Yeah, there's really nothing funny about this story, guys. So sorry. I tried to think about what sort of humor I could insert into it. It's just a little sad, but I'm covering it anyways because I support progress for women in such places, as you know.
Yay! If you want to stay up to date with the messiest drama on the internet, or what about those crazy viral challenges, then be sure to tune in to TMZ Verified, the podcast. I'm Wild.
I'm Steph.
And each week we're either breaking down the spicy viral stories, or we're hanging out with the most popular influencers around. Tana Mojo is in the building.
I don't even know if they're hating. They're probably just telling the truth, but we love the haters too.
Sophia Franklin.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk, but like, let's be real with each other, you know?
Bryce Hall is here, y'all. Make some noise, people.
I'm single, by the way.
Right.
So if you like viral drama, influencer culture, and just overall hot messiness, check out new episodes of TMZ Verified every Thursday right here on Spotify.
A man was arrested after trying to buy a Porsche with a $78 million check. Well, they're swinging for the fences, and then they're swinging for maximum security prison fences. Stories out of Louisville, Kentucky, all right, where there's a lot of missing brain cells. An Indiana man was arrested after he allegedly tried to buy a Porsche from a dealership with a $78 million check, and then he refused to leave when he was turned down. That's also funny. Sir, this is ridiculous. Get out of here. No. You're discriminating against me because I'm a billionaire. I don't understand how you try and buy a Porsche with a $78 million check. Obviously, the car doesn't cost $78 million. This guy's like, well, I heard on the radio commercials, all them car dealerships got that cash back option, so let's try this out. He takes in a big check. I want the car, and can you just refund me the difference? Yeah, sure. Let me check our petty cash, and let's see what we have. Oh, so sorry, sir. We only have $42 in petty cash. Will you accept $42 and a free air freshener? Who's this moron? It's Connor James Litka, age 21, of Bloomington, Indiana. He walked into the St. Matthews Porsche dealership with a $78 million check in hopes of buying a new Porsche. When dealership employees refused to sell him the car, allegedly, he walked around to the back entrance of the dealership looking for car keys. What, behind the building? Do you think that's where they leave the car keys, sir? Wow, this guy's on some chemicals and has a mental disability is my hunch. $78 million check. Why not just write a check for the exact amount of the Porsche and at least you'll have a chance, bro. I'm not saying do this, but if you're going to do it, there's a better way to do it. It says here Connor refused to leave until the dealership sold him the Porsche. Scared that he might do something reckless, employees called the police and he was arrested. I don't know what he expected. It says here, through the investigation, the police found that Connor had attempted a similar thing the day before at a Land Rover dealership. He allegedly tried to buy a Land Rover with a $12 million check. Oh, the $12 million check didn't work. He's like, you know what? Maybe I got to write a bigger check. It's more believable if I come in with $78 million, then they'll really respect me. Did he try telling them that he was a Saudi prince without a bank account? Trying to buy these cars that don't even cost $1 million with multi-million-dollar checks. This just sounds like the plot of a Trailer Park Boys episode, doesn't it? Now, our brilliant boy Connor is facing 1 count of criminal trespass and 1 count of disorderly conduct only. Wow, no charges in the fraud area, which I thought I would see. I guess because he didn't pull it off. I'm wondering, did they check his balance? Maybe. I mean, we're prejudging this boy, but maybe he does have $78 million in the checking account. And then it's just a case of him being horrible at making large purchases.
Does Monday at the office feel like a storm? Not with Microsoft Copilot. That feeling when Copilot gets everyone up to speed instantly? It's sunny again. When Copilot simplifies complex data so your teams can act, that sun's shining on a beach. And when Copilot uncovers hidden insights, you're on that beach with your people, and you find buried treasure. That's Microsoft Copilot. Learn more at Microsoft.com/AI for all.
Hello, my friends and loyal listeners of the Weird AF News podcast. Thank you for hanging out with me. And I appreciate all the messages I got over the weekend. I'm glad you enjoyed that Florida Friday episode. And thanks to everybody who sent me Florida Friday stories. It was a pretty good one. I'd like to get to a review that I just got this morning on Amazon. It's from Mark, and he gave me 1 star. Unfortunately, he wrote funny sometimes, not so funny other times. And I agree with Mark. It's funny sometimes, not so other times. But 1 star, bro? Come on, 1? He wrote, it's okay. Be better if okay, 1 star? 1 star isn't okay, Mark. So sorry. I think you need to reevaluate your opinion/star rating system. He says, it's okay. Be better if you just read the news with some funny commentary. But tends to just go on, which turns to annoying. Had to drop it after his latest anti-police rant. Also, he's always railing on Floridians with Florida Friday. I know. It's kind of the point of Florida Friday, Mark. What's with all this railing on Floridians on that Florida Friday episode? He should be celebrating Floridians on that Florida Friday episode because that's funny. The good things that they do occasionally, that's funny. Wow, this guy's an idiot. And Mark writes, but him being in California and me from California myself, there's plenty of idiocy there in Florida to make fun of to fill every week. Yeah, so you agree. Stupid. Yeah, no, I agree with him. Florida's ridiculous. But he's always railing on Floridians. It doesn't make any sense. Although there's plenty of idiocy there. I agree. 1 star. I'm 1 star Mark. That's what they call me. I won't give more than 1 star, even if I kind of agree, even if it's okay. Wow, what a dummy. Please go away, Mark. Never listen to Weird AF News, please. And good luck with your life, man. You need it. And now a lovely email from a young listener. Her name is Sasha. She said, I'm a 12-year-old with ADHD and in the gifted program, and your show is one of the few things that actually entertains and interests me for longer than 10 minutes. I found your show while I was looking through the options of podcasts on my phone's morning routine, and I already know that every morning I'm going to wake up and listen to this. Well, now you get to listen to a shout out to you, Sasha, for writing me this amazing email. It is so sweet, and it really made me smile. I just want to thank you for reaching out to me. This made me feel good. This is why I do the podcast, man. This is exactly why I do the podcast. Continually surprised by people of all walks of life that seem to like it. Obviously not Mark, but we have here a 12-year-old with ADHD in the gifted program, and says this is the only thing that interests her for longer than 10 minutes. Isn't that amazing? I never thought anyone would say that about my podcast. See that? That's great. I'm just so grateful. So thank you so much, Sasha, for taking the time to write that. And I'm constantly surprised when I learn that the youth enjoy my podcast. So that's really cool. And I so appreciate that. If you guys want to email me, it's funnyjones@gmail.com. I'd love it if you said something nice to offset the negative reviews that I get. And please, if you want to leave a review, it would be awesome. Go to Amazon. You can leave a review there. Most people have an Amazon account. Just do a search for Weird AF News. You can also leave a review on Apple Podcasts. And on Spotify, you can give it a thumbs up. You can't really write a review, but just give it a thumbs up. It only takes a second. Like, it really only takes a second to just click the thumbs up button. And that's really helpful. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. If you'd like to call the show because you have an opinion on some of the segments I did today, the number is 646-450-2012. I'd love to hear from my listeners. If you want to support the show, go to weirdafnews.com where you can buy Jonesy a cup of coffee, or you can join the Patreon as well. That's a great way to support the show. All right, I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good luck with your life, man. Yeah, good luck with your life.
Yay!
A woman has died after getting a Brazilian butt lift by a fake Florida doctor. A Florida man with a license plate Will Run flees from the police at 145 miles an hour. A Florida woman tried to sell her daughter for $500 in a parking lot, and a Florida man's 7-Eleven employee stole $25,000 and flees on a Greyhound bus. These are the weird stories for Friday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast recorded inside a closet, and the only daily weird news podcast that does Florida Fridays. That's right. All the weird news this week from the state of Florida, and Florida only, for good reason. Well, stay tuned.
Those bizarre stories you hear about all the time that seem to only happen here in Florida. I know, right?
Can't make this stuff up. It is just one of the many wacky news stories out of Florida.
Why does the Sunshine State consistently produce such strange news?
But what accounts for all this bizarre news? Is it the weather? Is it the people?
Florida is full of the crazy stories.
A woman dies after getting a Brazilian butt lift by a Florida doctor. A Tennessee woman has died after getting one of those Brazilian butt lifts. Hers was performed by apparently a Miami doctor who was allegedly not allowed to operate on patients. Why would you get any procedure in Florida? I just don't understand it. I'd feel safer getting a butt lift in Tijuana over Florida. And ladies, go to the gym. The gym, man. It's there for you. Squats. I mean, it's not complicated. It's so simple. Just go to the gym, squats. You don't even have to go to the gym to do squats. You can do squats in your home. You don't even need weights to do squats. You can hold on to something else and do a squat. You can grab a watermelon, hold on to a watermelon, get yourself a 10-pound watermelon or a pumpkin and do squats with that. You can hold your baby while you're doing squats. That's good if you're a mother at home. You can breastfeed. You could do squats and breastfeed at the same time. Bam, bam. It's called multitasking, and you don't have to die at the hands of a Miami doctor trying to give you a Brazilian butt lift using who knows what, putting cement in your butt. Didn't I cover a story about a Florida doctor who put cement in somebody's Brazilian butt? Yeah, this is going to be the firmest butt you've ever had. So firm because you're going to be stiff. You're going to be a corpse. All right, now let's jump back into the story and get the details. This is very sad. I feel horrible. This is a mother who made a bad choice, it seems. Erica Russell, age 33, she traveled to Seduction Cosmetic Center's facility in Coral Gables, Florida. Seduction Cosmetic Center. That should raise a red flag right there. Real doctors don't name their medical facility Seduction Cosmetic. Seduction? It's like the billboard for the lawyer I see in Los Angeles. Sweet James, the lawyer. Who's hiring Sweet James? That's great if you want a lawyer who sounds like he might be a pimp. Guys, these are medical procedures. These are lawyers. You need real, true professionals. This is serious business, the medical field. It's serious business, the legal field. You have to hire people who also seem professional in their promotions. Seduction Cosmetic. I mean, all right, anyways, I'm judging way too early. Maybe Seduction Cosmetic has a great reputation, but I don't know. It's in Florida. Just to me, the title's such a red flag. I mean, it's like going to a place called More Likes on Instagram Plastic Surgery. Okay, so this woman flew to Florida to undergo this cosmetic procedure, a Brazilian butt lift. You guys know how that works? It takes your saggy butt and it brings it back up, looking like when you're 19 years old again. All right, during the surgery, her doctor, John Sampson, allegedly he punctured her liver, bladder, and intestines with a cannoli. I'm sorry, not a cannula? I thought that said cannoli. I was like, did she get operated on by an Italian chef? He punctured all of these organs with something called a cannula. Cannula? It's a tube primarily used for removing fluid from the body. Wow, this is horrible. He just pretty much massacred this woman who went down there for just a butt lift. Wow. It says here a little over 2 hours after the surgery began, unfortunately, this woman went into cardiac arrest and passed away. This is horrible. The lawsuit says her cause of death was determined to be something I can't pronounce, but it has to do with bleeding in certain areas I can't pronounce. So we're just going to skip all of the medical terms because, I mean, hardly any of you are doctors anyways. I don't think doctors listen to the Weird AF News podcast. I'm just going to go out there. That's my hot take. Attorneys representing the woman said that the doctor was not allowed to perform surgical procedures at the facility and alleged that Seduction Cosmetic provided the woman with falsified paperwork stating that the doctor, quote, had plastic and cosmetic privileges at a local hospital when, in fact, he did not. Yeah, this is ridiculous. And you have to imagine how many doctors are slipping in to the cosmetic surgery realm without really being surgeons. They come from some other field. But, you know, you go into cosmetic surgery. Why? Because it pays cash. Pays cash. Credit card cash. You don't have to deal with insurance companies because insurance companies don't cover this kind of stuff. So why deal with insurance companies? I mean, I hear stories all the time about medical facilities and hospitals that have to fold because of lost profits, because of the whole insurance game that they have to play to retrieve their money. It's a whole racket. So why not just go and do cosmetic surgery? But then you get questionable doctors in that field because they just went in there for the wrong reasons and they don't have the training. It's very sad. This all could have been avoided if we could just crack down on this sort of stuff in the U.S. The whole medical industry in this country is out of control. It's out of control. So I'm just going to say this one more time. My lovely girls out there, just squats in the kitchen. Just get a frozen turkey and do squats in the kitchen. A Florida man on a motorcycle with the license plate "Will Run" flees from the police at 145 miles per hour. Well, he wasn't lying. He will run. He said he was gonna. The license plate checks out. The story's out of Tampa, Florida. A motorcyclist with the license plate "Will Run" was arrested Tuesday night for fleeing the Florida deputies at speeds upwards of 145 miles an hour. It's a miracle they even caught the guy. You hear stories about people on motorcycles that can really easily get away from the police. Some of them can just hit 200 miles per hour, and what are the police going to do? They call helicopters in those instances, but not always successful. Those things can disappear real quick. According to the sheriff's office, this teenager, it was a teenager, was caught weaving through highway traffic at speeds in the Sanford area after taunting and fleeing officials. So in addition to driving really fast away from the cops, he was taunting them on his Will Run motorcycle. Well, did they interview this character? Did they find out what was going on? Maybe he was born to run. Some people are born to run. You know the type. There's even a song about it. Sprung from cages on Highway 9, chrome wheel, fuel injected and stepping out over the line. Oh, maybe this down, rips the bones from your back. It's a death trap. It's a suicide rap. We gotta get out while we're young. 'Cause tramps like us, baby, we were born to run. Now. Yes, girl, we were. Have I ever told you about the time I met the boss, Bruce Springsteen, in New York City? I'll never forget it. It's one of the greatest moments of my life. I'll have to tell you about that someday, but not right now on Florida Friday. We have work to do. Back to the story. So regarding the license plate, this is a very important detail. Will Run was his license plate. That's what it says. And it wasn't a real license plate, as you can imagine. It wasn't even a vanity plate, you know, the plates that you can register yourself. They actually screen those out, and you probably wouldn't even be allowed to purchase a Will Run license plate because that implies, you know, fleeing from the police at 145 miles an hour. Everybody knows that. This is worse. This license plate is a little joke license plate that you can buy as a gag at like stores and stuff. I think you can even get them at 7-Eleven sometimes. You can definitely order them online. They're supposed to be funny. It was that license plate. So, I mean, the whole thing is comical. The boy's name is Ashton. Ashton, yeah, of course, Ashton, age 19. Anyone named Ashton is going to be up to no good in Florida. You know that. Now, there's footage from the helicopter that was involved. See, this is the problem with shenanigans like this is you use up a lot of community resources. I heard that the helicopters in Los Angeles, when they're flying, it costs taxpayers approximately $2,000 per hour. So when you think like, oh, it's not a big deal. No, it's a huge deal. A helicopter flying out for 5 hours, that's like 10 grand it costs the community in funds. So very annoying. And then the traffic ticket they give you doesn't usually cover the 10 grand, just going to say. So the video shows the teenager weaving through cars with Will Run. And he was running through cars, running through intersections before he gets stopped, gets arrested. Another video shows the deputy asking him, this is kind of funny, the deputy is heard on the video asking him, "Oh man, was that shit fun?" And then Ashton replies, "No, not really." No, not really? What's... Ashton, come on, man. That's why you're doing it, because it's supposed to be fun, right? Can you imagine how angry the police must have been? They'd be even more angry, those Florida cops, if they could read. Anyways, Ashton's going to be charged with charges. He's going to be charged with charges including fleeing at high speed, reckless driving, possession of a counterfeit license plate, in addition to several traffic violations. But you got to hand it to him. This guy, he has principles here. He's like, I may be reckless, but I ain't no liar. A Florida mother tried to sell her baby for $500 outside of an H&R Block. Well, she went to the right place because it's tax season. So you can imagine, that's a horrible joke up top. And look, I wasn't even going to do this story, but so many of you sent it to me. Yeah, hey, Jonesy, do this human trafficking story. I wasn't going to do it because it's so cruel and horrible. But, I mean, I must have gotten this story sent to me 15 times. So apparently this is what you guys want. I'm going to do it. But I don't want to hear about it afterward. How could you cover that story about that mom trying to sell her baby? Well, here we go. This is a heartless Florida mother. That's how they're describing her, and I would agree with that. She allegedly tried to sell her toddler for $500 at a bank before no one took her up on the offer, and she abandoned the child. Her name is Jessica Woods. There's a photo of her. It's not looking good, guys. I mean, I'd imagine getting the baby out of her hands is probably the right thing. I don't know if foster care is going to do the trick, and I'm not sure an individual that would pay $500 for a human baby is also the person you want raising a baby. And it seems like a low price for a human, $500. I mean, you got to go. It's under 2 years old. $1,000, right? That seems more reasonable. $1,000. I don't know. Call the show and tell me what the going rate is for a baby. It says here, Jessica was spotted outside of the H&R Block in Palatka, Florida, with her 18-month-old daughter. She was approached by one of the bank's employees who recognized her as the mother who frequented the area and even used the bank's restroom in order to change the daughter. Woods at one point was spotted hitting her daughter and spanking her inside the bank bathroom. That's pretty strange. You would think that the bank would have called child services previously on her if she kept using the bathroom and hitting her kid in there. But okay, the bank didn't do anything. And now here we have her selling the baby outside the bank. This is unbelievable. And people want to ban abortion. Guys, what are we doing? You want to ban abortion? When you force people to have kids that are ill-equipped to have kids, this is what you get. You know, I say this all the time. If you're struggling to be a person, don't make a person. And now we're forcing people who are struggling to be people to make people. Okay, so now we have the day in question. Jessica goes back to the bank, places her child on the ground. The child immediately starts crawling towards traffic. The employee from the bank comes out, picks the child up, basically saving the child from death. And Jessica asked the employee if she wanted to purchase her daughter. It says, Woods told the bank employee she didn't need anything but offered to sell the child to the bank employee for $500. When the bank employee refused to purchase the child, Jessica walked away, leaving her daughter behind. Wait, so she offered to sell the child, then just leaves the child? This is terrible negotiation skills. $500? No? Okay, well then free. Meth, man. Hell of a drug. It says at this point, the employee brought the toddler inside the bank to clean her up before reporting Jessica's horrid behavior to the police. Officers brought the child into their care until the Department of Children and Families arrived and took custody of the girl. As a result of the investigation, detectives obtained an arrest warrant for Woods, charging her with child abuse, child neglect, and abandonment of a child. The child has been since put into foster care, and we can only pray for the safety and well-being of the child. I would imagine a child that's in a Florida foster care doesn't have much of a chance. A child just in a Florida family doesn't have much of a chance, as we can all glean from the stories that I do every Friday. This isn't the first time I've covered a story about the negotiations of child sales in the parking lot of a business. In 2022, a Florida man was arrested when he tried to purchase an 8-year-old girl for $100,000 at a Walmart. Yeah. Florida man. A Florida 7-Eleven employee stole $25,000 from the safe. This story is out of Tampa. We have here an employee of a 7-Eleven who's been accused of stealing $25,000 from his workplace and then fleeing to Tampa. This seems tame for a Florida man's story. No naked, no gators, no meth. Let's keep reading. Maybe there's some Four Loko involved, or perhaps a cousin. It says, according to the Naples Police Department, Todd J. Domer, age 63, took the money from the safe. 63 years old, so close to retirement, but, it's very difficult to retire in the U.S. This guy's like, $25K, I'm rich, bitch. Never going to work a day in my life. Whee! It says, our man Todd J. Domer was permitted access to the safe to make bank deposits. He's been accused of disconnecting all of the security cameras at the 7-Eleven before making off with the $25,000 and fleeing to Tampa. Now, here's the kicker. He was discovered fleeing to Tampa on a Greyhound bus. Flee on a bus? How do you flee on a Greyhound? You have to wait around at least 25 minutes for the bus to arrive. Fleeing on a Greyhound. And I'm going to make my getaway. Let me check the bus schedule. It looks like I can make my getaway enough. It's going to be here in 45 minutes. And then I'll be fleeing to Tampa. What's the deal with Tampa? $25,000 get you far in Tampa? Now, apparently, the authorities discovered that he was heading to Tampa on the Greyhound bus. This idiot probably gave his name when he bought the ticket. Detectives drove to meet him in Tampa and arrested him as soon as he got off the bus. What? How did you figure me out, man? I thought I was having a real swift getaway on this Greyhound bus. Seemed foolproof to me. Wow, Florida man is so dumb. I mean, it's high levels of stupidity. It's almost impressive. Skip $25,000 and I'm going to make my getaway. Ha ha. My life is now changed forever. I'm a multi-thousandaire. Police caught him when he got off the bus, our man Todd Ray. And apparently they've recovered, quote, a substantial portion of the stolen cash. A substantial portion? What did he spend $2,000 on the Greyhound bus on the way down there? He spent a couple $1,000 at rest stop buffets, and he had $500 worth of Cheetos as snacks on the bus ride. Wow. Yay! Hey, man, this is the boss, and you're listening to the Weird AF News podcast with my man Jonesy. He's cool. That was my Bruce impression, guys. This was a fun episode. I want to thank everybody who sent me articles the past 48 hours. Very helpful. Made my job easier. You guys can always email me things, articles, little notes, love notes, indictments, whatever you're into. funnyjones@gmail.com. Please follow me on the Instagram @funnyjones. I'm almost at 7,000 followers. I only need about 20 more or so. So please follow me on Instagram. Help me hit 7,000 followers. That would be helpful. You can also see it where I'm doing shows, where I'm performing on my Instagram. I keep that up to date. Tonight is Friday. I have 2 shows, one in downtown LA and one at the Ice House in Pasadena. So if you're interested in seeing me, the downtown one is a private show, but I could probably swing it and get you in. But just go to the Ice House tonight. I'll be there. And all the information will be on my Instagram @funnyjones. Isn't that special? Anyways, I hope you're having an amazing weekend, or you already had one, or you're going to have one. And if you want to support Weird AF News, it's very, very easy. You're probably wondering, how do I support Weird AF News? How do I support Jonesy? Go to weirdafnews.com, the official website. You can make a PayPal donation from there. You can buy me a cup of coffee, or you can join the Patreon. All of those things are available on the homepage of that website. Just click on the banner. There's a little coffee cup. There's a little PayPal symbol. Do I have to walk you through this? I'll hold your hand if it means giving me $5 to buy a coffee. I will do that. Joining the Patreon is a great way to do it. I recommend that because it's like buying Jonesy a coffee every month, and you also get access to additional Weird AF content that I put inside the Patreon. So check that out. You can also download the Patreon app. There's an app on your phone, and do a search for Weird AF News. That's where you'll find me. Anyways, I'm looking forward to the weekend. Got a lot going on. I'm very excited, and I guess I'll see you guys on Monday. And just one more thing, in case you don't know, I need to say this. Good luck with your life, man! A man is caught putting items up his butt inside antique stores. The Alabama Supreme Court has just determined that frozen embryos are actually children, and the Navy has done away with the rule that prevents sailors from putting their hands in their pockets. These are the weird stories for Tuesday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast hosted by a dude inside a closet. I got 3 weird news stories from around the country. Come on. A man wearing a kilt put antiques in his rectum and then put them back on the shelf. This is according to the police. We have here Michael Vest. He was arrested after the 60-year-old kilt-wearing man in Texas was caught on surveillance footage from an antique shop. Allegedly, he was grabbing items off the shelves in the antique store and placing those items inside his rectum before returning them onto the shelves. How'd you like to be the employee that witnessed him doing this? Sir, there's a price check scanner right over there. You don't have to do that. Putting antiques up his butt, eh? Well, you've heard of antiquing, right? Well, there's ass-cheeking, I believe. People are into these colon collectibles, crevice collectibles. We could go on and on with the puns, guys, but I'll save you the torture. All right, let's dive into some of the fascinating yet ghastly details about this man wearing a kilt. What else is he going to wear, though? I mean, it's either a mini skirt or a kilt if you want to easily put antiques in your butthole. So this guy was doing it. You can't do it with pants, guys. You can't, quote, try out the items if you're wearing pants, unless you take them to the changing room. But last I checked, antique stores don't have changing rooms. I'd imagine in various Salvation Armies and Goodwills, he took some of the items into the changing rooms. So would you like to bring into the changing room? Yeah, I have 5 of these objects that I got in the electronics section I'd like to bring into the changing room. The changing rooms are for clothes, sir. It says here, authorities received a call on Thursday, February 15th, from multiple concerned citizens regarding an adult male who they said was observed selecting various items from the shelf at an antique mall outlet and placing the selected items into his rectum. The constable said, quote, well, the male was observed removing the items and placing them back on the shelves in what I would call the strangest hobby I've ever seen in my 3 decades working on the force. Well, in this guy's defense, how else is he going to find new sex toys? I mean, Amazon doesn't exactly tell you, will this fit in my butt? You can't even ask them that before. So you got to go out in the field. It says here, a probable cause affidavit was obtained. They identified some of the items allegedly tainted by Mr. Vest's actions, including the following items. An antique bottle opener, an antique tobacco tent can, not sure what that is, a restoration hardware piece, doesn't say the size of that, I'd imagine it's quite girthy, and an antique makeup brush. He was just, he wasn't putting that in his rectum, he was just cleaning up the area following the removal of the restoration hardware piece in that moment, is my guess. Oh man, you can't make this stuff up. Now, get this. The incidents allegedly occurred at not just one antique shop, 2 different antique shops, the Antique Gallery of Houston and the Curiosity Shop, both of which are in Spring, Texas. Per the affidavit, the owner of the Antique Gallery told the police she witnessed Mr. Vest pick up the makeup brush and a hardware piece, quote, shove both items up his anus, then return the items to the shelf. Both items at the same time? Or was it one at a time action here? She said the value of the damaged items was approximately $130. The owner of the Curiosity Shop reported to the police that she had reviewed security footage showing Mr. Vest doing the same thing with the bottle opener and the tent can, noting that her property damages amounted to $74 total. Now, both of the owners of the antique shops claim they had to throw away all of these items that were involved in the activities due to them being, quote, tarnished in a particular way. We don't have to get into the details of that. We can imagine. Now, I hope you've reviewed all of the surveillance footage to find all the items in question, because you can't put it past this kilt-wearing fella to put any and all items that are smaller than a jukebox up there. Employees are going to have to be using gloves from here on out, I'd imagine, to handle anything. And I think at the end of the day, you know, the worst part about this is the cultural appropriation. I mean, did this guy have to wear a kilt? How insulting to people that wear kilts out there in the world. The Alabama Supreme Court just ruled frozen embryos are actually children. Well, it does make some sense, to be fair. A frozen embryo actually has a higher IQ than Republican lawmakers, so move forward, I say. Oh, what a circus we have in the U.S. The Alabama Supreme Court ruled Friday that frozen embryos are actually children, which pro-choice rights groups have warned could have dangerous implications for fertility treatments such as in vitro fertilization. Now, the intricacies of this are a bit complex, but let's unpack it here. I'll try to help us. There was a lawsuit where a couple was suing a fertility clinic and a hospital for the wrongful death of their frozen embryos. In a ruling that contained a lot of theology, the couple's frozen embryos were destroyed after a hospital patient that at a place where the freezer was that held the embryos dropped them onto the floor. And this ruling means that the couple can actually sue for wrongful death, saying that the frozen embryos were actually children and that the hospital / fertility clinic just murdered some children. This is being called the Wrongful Death of a Minor Act, and it is sweeping and unqualified. It applies to all children born and unborn without any limitations. Yeah, ruling pointed to the Alabama Constitution, which argues that each person was made in God's image, meaning each life has an incalculable value that cannot be wrongfully destroyed without incurring the wrath of a holy God. Well, I mean, it sounds like the individuals involved in the wrongful, quote, murder of the frozen embryos are going to be dealt with by the holy God anyways. Do we have to bring courts into it in addition to the wrath of a holy God? I mean, I'd imagine the punishment you get from the wrath of a holy God in the afterlife is going to be insurmountable compared to the terrestrial punishments that the Alabama courts are going to give you. But I guess they want to double dip here with the punishments, because those embryos are actually real children, it says. So I got some questions regarding the premise that frozen embryos are counted as actual children. If I'm in Alabama, can I put some frozen embryos in a cooler on my passenger seat and then use the carpool lane? If an embryo that has been frozen for 18 plus years, can they get a credit card, purchase a gun, and vote in the 2024 election? I'm wondering. I'm looking at embryos for Trump 2024, right, guys? It's going to be embryos for Trump, I imagine. Wow. Also, can you claim your frozen family on your taxes? That's another thing to talk about. I've already given this more thought than the Alabama Supreme Court, it seems, in the 3 minutes I've done this segment. Wow, really smart people over there. And here's another scenario. What if a couple, they freeze a bunch of these embryos for a future child, but then they're able to have a child naturally. She gets pregnant for real. Do they then have to support all of the children, all those frozen embryos, in addition to the child that they're going to actually have? Can they put those frozen embryos up for adoption? Whew. I mean, we got a problem here, guys. We got to figure this out. Oh, also, if there's a power outage at the fertility clinic and those freezers go down, is the fertility clinic now on the hook for mass murder? Did they just murder 50,000 children? I mean, I'm not smart enough to figure this out. I'm just guessing here. I am going to say, though, that maybe Alabama shouldn't jump into science yet. I mean, not until they're done with cousin humping. Anyways, you know, this is a state where, like, children can get married. I believe the legal marriage age is, 14 in Alabama? So maybe get those things under control before you start jumping into science. The Medical Association of the state of Alabama warned that this ruling could bring about some harmful consequences for fertility treatment in Alabama. I would say harmful consequences? Yeah, every fertility treatment center is just going to leave Alabama at this point because it's too dangerous. I mean, the consequences of anything happening to all of the children that you have frozen, it's just too much of a liability at that point. So this is going to create a situation where anybody in Alabama who wants to do IVF treatment is going to have to just travel out of state, or maybe mail order. Can you do it through the mail? I'm not familiar with all of the options that we have as far as fertility goes. I got a vasectomy, so I'm going in the opposite direction. I'd imagine Alabama is going to make vasectomies illegal at some point as well. A lot of these states might outlaw vasectomies. That's the next step. Oh boy, I'm glad I squeezed mine in before the deadline, before the Christo-fascists take away my rights. And I think the next logical step in all of this, if these Bible thumpers have their way, would be to claim that my sperm is also a child. That would be the next step. And then I guess what I'm doing is holding all of my sperm prisoners against their will inside my sack by not letting them out. Because every sperm is sacred. Every sperm is great. Every sperm is sacred. Every sperm is great. What do you guys think about this story? Do you have an opinion on it? Do you lie somewhere on one side of this? Call the show, 646-450-2012. I would love to hear from peeps. Gonna hold my baby, gonna squeeze her tight, but I gotta wear special gloves 'cause she's got eczema. Oh, my baby got the eczema. Yay! The Navy gets rid of the ban on sailors putting their hands in their pockets. The Navy got rid of a source of anger and online mockery this past week, announcing they are lifting the ban on sailors keeping their hands inside their pockets. I'm wondering, prior to this, how did the sailors get stuff out of their pockets? Did they all just do a handstand and allow things to fall out? How'd they get at that hidden jelly donut? That's what I want to know. Is that a jelly donut in your locker? It says here, sailors are authorized to have hands in their pockets. When doing so, does not compromise safety nor prohibit the proper rendering of honors and courtesies. That is the statement from the actual Navy. The change was largely made at the request of the sailors, who saw the rule as pointless and quite irritating, I can imagine. It's pretty cold on the deck of a ship, very windy. The pockets are a place where you can keep those nice hands warm. This ban had been in place because the Navy believed that keeping your hands in your pockets actually detracts from a sailor's military appearance. Yeah, perhaps there's some credence to that claim. But, then you got to argue that 24/7, they got to keep up the military appearance, when that's not the case. You're on a ship for how many weeks, months? Sometimes you should be in military appearance, and sometimes it's downtime, and you should be able to put your hands in your pockets. I'd imagine if you're all lining up for a military photo of some sort and you want to look very regal and professional, then yeah, no hands in the pockets, that makes sense. Or when they line up in the morning, don't they line up in the morning and the guy walks down and gives them orders, and they have to salute to the guy, the lead guy on the ship, whoever's, what is it, like a sergeant or a chief? I'm trying to think. I don't know anything about the military. I claim complete ignorance. I never had the desire to join the military. It's not a place for a guy like me, I don't think. I like to sleep till 9 a.m., so not for me. But I imagine when that guy gets up in the morning and checks them all out, they got to stand at attention and then no hands in the pockets. That seems natural. If you put your hands in your pockets in those moments, it would seem like you're insulting the chief or the head Navy guy. Also says there's some more changes that are going to take place during the announcement. They included other notable changes, some of them reflecting the growing presence of women in the Navy as well. Female sailors are now permitted to optionally wear T-shirts specifically designed for female bodies with Navy uniforms. The statement said that the intent of this policy update is to address expressed dissatisfaction regarding the required wear of male or unisex T-shirts that are not designed to actually fit the female bodies. Women can also now wear fake eyelashes or eyelash extensions, provided that the lashes project a natural appearance and are not longer than 14 millimeters in length as measured from the eyelid to the tip of the eyelash. False eyelash color will match the color of the natural eyelash. Eyelash extensions cannot hinder wear of protective eyewear. The rules changes will have a big impact in San Diego, it says, which is home to nearly 60,000 active duty sailors. For the sake of this story, they threw in those Navy statistics because the story is actually out of the San Diego Union Tribune. I've actually met some of these San Diego military peeps. There's some bases in the San Diego, San Clemente area. I've done some shows down there and had a lot of military people come to my shows, and they're awesome. I've noticed that the young military crowds are very well behaved compared to some of the other young crowds that I've had to perform in front of, such as the young college crowd, which is a bit annoying, and they definitely can't handle their booze, where I find the military people can really handle their booze. This isn't a plug to join the military, so you'll be better at drinking. I'm just reporting the data. Lastly, one further change that they've made to appeal to their military youth is they're now allowing selfies on the poop deck. Selfies on the poop deck, guys. No, I made that up, but sounds like that would be fun, right? Is there anybody going to listen to my story? All about the man who put antiques in his butt. He's a kind man that wears a kilt and he loves the fresh air. And he puts the things inside his butt. Oh, butt antiques. Butt antiques. Oh, man. I really crossed the line there. I totally desecrated a Beatles song. Please forgive me. Oh, I hope John Lennon isn't looking down from heaven and just disgusted by my parodying of a Beatles song to a story about a man wearing a kilt putting things upside his rectum. Hey, you got to take these kinds of risks in life to be entertaining, though, I find. Please don't cancel me. And please subscribe to Weird AF News, where you get terrible jokes and likewise, horrible song parodies. I want to thank you guys for spending some time. If you haven't subscribed yet to the Weird AF News podcast, please consider doing so, but do so at your own risk. Just know it's terrible. Lastly, if you guys would like to support the show, I would love it if you supported the show. Yeah, I got a website. It's weirdafnews.com, and you can go there and buy Jonesy a coffee to keep me caffeinated throughout the day. And you can also join the Patreon. That's a way to support the show. You also get additional weird content if you join the Patreon. It's sort of an added bonus, so I encourage people to do that as well. If you want to send me any stories, my email's funnyjones@gmail.com, or you can go to my Instagram @funnyjones and then send me stories in my DM. You can DM me and say hello. Tell me your name. Tell me where you're from. Introduce yourself. Say hello. I love to hear from listeners. I'm so grateful. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Good luck with your life, man. A teacher in New Mexico instructed students to fight with swords. The police were called to a Willy Wonka event after kids were left in tears. And a Republican in Missouri wants to bring back dueling. These are the weird stories for Thursday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast hosted by a comedian inside a closet. I got 3 weird news segments from around the world for you. Let's go. According to a lawsuit, a teacher brought out swords and instructed the students to fight. Hey, man, the first rule of Sword Club is you don't talk about the Sword Club, man. Why are you talking about Sword Club, man? We got to keep this thing on the DL so we can keep Sword Club going, man. The story's out of New Mexico. You know, some schools in the U.S. want to hand guns to the teachers. Imagine if it was guns instead of swords, guys. All right, maybe we shouldn't hand guns to the teachers, because they're conducting sword fights in classrooms. They're conducting Fight Club in classrooms, as I've also covered on this podcast. You can't trust these teachers over here. Public school, man, it's a rough go. I'm grateful every day that I survived it. It says here, it's a decision that has parents wondering, what was she thinking after a lawsuit claims that a teacher brought swords to school to have students fight one another in the classroom. It also claims it was caught on camera. Oh, caught on camera. There's a camera in the classroom and you still have Sword Club. Are you okay, lady? Or guy, whoever did this? The family of a student who was injured by one of the swords is suing, obviously. Swords hurt. After all, what did you expect? Now, this article says, instead of hearing a teacher's lesson in chemistry class, they say they heard swords clinking as students took each other on in a makeshift classroom arena, all at the instruction of their chemistry teacher. I'm surprised to hear that it was a chemistry teacher. Yeah, he said history. Sometimes it's important to learn history, guys. Never mind. This is a chemistry class. My bad. Chemistry class. A chemistry teacher in New Mexico, which is where this story takes place. There's Walter White, and then there's this teacher. Guys, you familiar with Breaking Bad? All right, I'm making references. I just assume you get them. I shouldn't make such assumptions. By the way, never would have expected this from a chemistry teacher. Physical education teacher? Absolutely. My gym teacher was off his rocker. Wouldn't have been surprised at all if he had us wailing away with katanas. Or perhaps a substitute teacher. You know, I don't even know what they do. Now, all of this took place in a school called Volcano Vista. Volcano High School. This sounds like a badass place. Of course they're going to have Sword Fight Club in Volcano High School. If kids didn't fight to the death in Volcano High School, I'd question it. This sounds like a school for supervillains, honestly, where they train kids to be supervillains, teach them, like, how to conduct long monologues about their evil plans. And then we'll release 20,000 killer hornets. You get an A. Now we have further details from Jessica Hernandez, who is the lawyer representing one of the students that got injured. Jessica says, totally shocked. A student got a major cut on her wrist, ended up in the emergency room. Not only did this teacher and the school not protect the child, but actively put her in harm's way, actively created this danger, and put deadly weapons right into these students' hands. And exactly what could reasonably be anticipated from all of this is exactly what happened. According to the lawsuit, the teacher told the students that day that she had a surprise, and she brought out 2 swords. According to the claim, the teacher then put on a timer, had them clear away the desks, and instructed them to take turns fighting each other with the swords. Attorneys claim some of the fighting activity was captured on a cell phone video taken by the victim right before she was selected to fight. In the video, you can see students battling with the swords and hear them laughing, all while the teacher is looking on and watching the timer. Now, when questioned about all of this activity, apparently the assistant principal claimed the teacher had brought the swords into class to discuss the science of metal and melding. But when asked if the injury violated school rules, the principal said no. He is also named in the lawsuit. Okay. Well, this is one way to teach metallurgy. You know, we could cover how to make a sword, but why not experiment with how to use a sword, kids? Let's take it to a whole new level. Second rule of Sword Fight Club. If you lose an appendage, don't you tell your parents, man. A Willy Wonka event that looked like a meth lab left children in tears. An immersive experience that promised to transport Willy Wonka fans into a magical realm has turned out to be such an epic letdown that customers even called the police. They compared the attraction to a meth lab. Wow, I mean, imagine being so disappointed in something that you actually called the police on it. This must be pretty bad. Let's learn a little bit more about Willy's Chocolate Experience. Willy's Chocolate Experience charged customers in the UK $44 each. The attraction was not officially affiliated with the Warner Brothers movie Wonka, though the event's marketing came as close as possible to suggesting it was based on author Roald Dahl's creation. The ad copy invited fans to journey to, quote, a universe where confectionery dreams are brought to life. This includes a, quote, mind-expanding projection, optical marvels, and exhibits that transport you into the realm of creativity and wondrous creations and enchanting surprises at every turn. Now, it says here the organizers of this event apparently used artificial intelligence to generate promotional images for their website that suggested a very high-quality Willy Wonka-type attraction. It looked just like the immersive and trippy Wonka-esque world that the ad copy promised, but the result was somewhat different, and ticket buyers needed pure imagination to think it looked anything like a fantastical chocolate factory. Apparently, customers, meaning families basically, and children, showed up to find a sparsely decorated warehouse with a scattering of plastic props, a very small bouncy castle, and some backdrops pinned against the walls. It says here, Scotland police were even called to the scene. The event was shut down, and parents said their children were left in tears. All the event lacked was a man in a top hat telling customers, "You get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!" Now, I had to jump into the photos from this event, and it's pretty sad. It looks like a kind of an empty cafeteria. There's some what looks like cups of Gatorade on a table, some terrible posters, and a small bouncy castle. And then I had to check out the website, and it does have a lot of very enticing AI-generated images of what looks like a wonderful chocolate land. But then apparently the person used AI to write the descriptions on here, and there's some spelling mistakes that were left in here. For instance, it says the word catcagating, which I think is supposed to say captivating. It's catcagating. Karchi tons. I don't know what Karchi tons are. And then it says Exarsadre lollipops and a paradise of sweet teats, which I think is supposed to say a paradise of sweet treats, but it says a paradise of sweet teats, which I love. I want a paradise of sweet teats. Mom, I want a Pasadena of sweet teats. Can we go get one? Yes, honey. I'll surely take you to have a Pasadena of sweet teats, honey. Good. I like a Pasadena of sweet teats. And I like Carchitons. It's very cacagating. Do they gonna have exarsa lollipops? What about a Oompa Boompa? I can't get over this. Obviously, this individual is trying to scam people. How did this person think they would get away with this? I mean, you set up an event for children, and it looks like a meth lab. Oompa Loompa Diggity Death. You will get hooked when you try our meth. These meth berries taste like real meth berries, Daddy. Well, they better. I paid $44 for this crap. This article says, of course, one could argue that a Willy Wonka-inspired event that ended with angry parents and crying children is much more authentic to Roald Dahl's novel than any of the recent Wonka movies, which is a hilarious line. Says here, event organizers eventually refunded tickets and apologized for the very stressful and frustrating day, telling customers, unfortunately, last minute, we were let down in many areas of our event and tried our best to continue on and push through, and now we realize we probably should have canceled first thing that morning instead. Well, so sad. I hope all the families got their refunds, because that's not cheap to bring a family to a place like that. What I guess I could call the Fire Festival of children's attractions. Right? I got one more question, though, that this story hasn't answered. So, who won the factory?
Does Monday at the office feel like a storm? Not with Microsoft Copilot. That feeling when Copilot gets everyone up to speed instantly? It's sunny again. When Copilot simplifies complex data so your teams can act, that sun's shining on a beach. And when Copilot uncovers hidden insights, you're on that beach with your people, and you find buried treasure. That's Microsoft Copilot. Learn more at Microsoft.com/AI for all.
Yay!
A Missouri Republican has proposed to reintroduce dueling in order to solve state house differences. And I support that. Anything involving U.S. politicians shooting one another. Yeah, I think that's a great idea, especially doing it on the federal level. We have here a Missouri Republican civil war that's going on, and apparently it's escalating. And one of the members has filed a proposed rule change to allow senators to challenge an offending senator to a duel. No, this is 2024, guys, not 1712. Yep, a duel. We have here the Missouri Freedom Caucus, which is a hardline right-wing group on the lines of the group of the same name in the U.S. House of Representatives. They drafted this rule that says if a senator's honor is impugned by another senator to the point that is beyond repair, and in order for the offended senator to gain some satisfaction, such senator may rectify the perceived insult to the senator's honor by challenging the offending senator to a duel. The trusted representative, known as the second of the offended senator, shall send a written challenge to the offending senator. The two senators shall agree to the terms of the duel, including choice of weapons, which shall be witnessed and enforced by their respective seconds. The duel shall take place in the well of the Senate at the hour of high noon on the date agreed by the parties to the duel. So it's a battle to the death, I guess? How pro-life of them, huh, guys? Wow, these politicians, they would rather do anything except their jobs. Am I right? I like the part where it says choice of weapons. They get to decide. I mean, how about nukes? Anybody all in favor of nukes? Say aye. I'd like to see a cage match. That would be the best way to do it. Televise it. I would pay to watch fools fight each other with samurai swords or anything else, to be honest with you. Being that this is Missouri, though, they'll probably go with the old AR-15. That's their trusty weapon of choice in general. A lot of Republicans in their campaign videos like to hold AR-15s as well. So I guess we'll finally find out if they know how to use them. I would really love to see the old school pistols, though, those flintlock single-fire pistols. That would be nice, but it would take a long time for the duel to end, I would think. Now, if you don't know, dueling was a long part of the American political scene back in the day, famously resulting in the killing of our founding father Alexander Hamilton by Aaron Burr in 1804. But dueling largely died out by the 1850s, thankfully. I mean, as much as I would love to see politicians blast away at each other, I mean, what does that really say about our political landscape? This is really not what we want to aspire to. I mean, we always throw stones at North Korea, but, you know, look what we're doing over here. I just wish we would get our crap together, to be honest with you. But I mean, I can honestly say dueling politicians would solve one problem that I have with these buffoons, and that is there's too many old politicians. You know, they seem to give them these terms that go on and on and on. And, you know, it'd be nice to cut them off a little earlier. This would fix that. Turn my bandmate into a woman, I stole his woman. Turn my bandmate into a woman, I stole his woman. Put the estrogen in his drink. Then we go to the gym, watching him do those bench presses, watching his breasts get big. But it's not just from the bench press, he's drinking a big titty drink. Bandmate into a woman, I stole his woman. Turn my bandmate into a woman, I stole his woman. Turn my bandmate into a woman, stole his woman. Turn my bandmate into a woman, I stole his woman. Yeah, stole his woman, 'cause he's got big breasts now. I stole his woman. Yay!
Shipping can make or break a sale, so optimize how you ship your orders with ShipStation. They make it easy to automate and manage orders no matter how big your business grows. And they might even be able to help reduce shipping and warehouse costs. So optimize and keep up your momentum for growth with ShipStation. Sign up for your free 60-day trial now at ShipStation.com and use the code POD. That's ShipStation.com with the code POD.
Hello, my friends and loyal listeners of the Weird AF News podcast. Thanks for spending some time with me in the show. I appreciate you. I just want to say that I decided to re-record the Turn My Bandmate Into a Woman song. I had a lot of positive comments on it. People seem to really like the song that I improvised the other day based on the story, but the recording of it was so lame. I just I did it on my phone in my bedroom, and I wasn't really considering that it would be any good, and I didn't care about the recording quality, so I thought I would just redo that for you. And if anyone would like a copy of that, just email me. I'll send you the MP3. It's funnyjones@gmail.com. Also, if you come across any weird Florida stories from this week, please email that to me as well, because tomorrow we're going to be doing the Florida Friday episode. If you're new to the show, on Fridays I only do weird news from Florida, and it's one of the best moments of the week, we all agree. If you'd like to call the show and leave a message, I got a voicemail. It's 646-450-2012. I'll be posting some calls after this if you want to stick around and hear from some listeners. And lastly, if you would like to support the show, I have a website you can go to, weirdafnews.com, pretty easy. And from there you can buy Jonesy a coffee, you can join my Patreon, you can do a PayPal donation, any of those sorts of things. And if you don't have the ducats to support the show with in a monetary fashion, then you can always tell a friend about the show. That's a great way to support, and it doesn't cost you anything, and I would appreciate that. And I guess that's about it. I'll let you go. We'll keep the outro brief. Love you very much. We'll see you tomorrow. Good luck with your life, man.
Hey, Jonesy, it's the party boys, man. We're going to party tonight. Uh-huh.
Hi, Jonesy. It's Connie from Cedartown, Georgia. And I was calling to let you and all the weirdos know that today, February 28th, is National Sleep in Public Day. Yeah, sleeping in public. So I started thinking, where would you even sleep in public where you wouldn't be robbed or killed or beat up or something? And somebody said, oh, on a park bench. And I thought, no, I don't think there's any park benches around here I want to sleep on. And the only time I can think of that I slipped in public recently, and it was unintentional, was in a doctor's office, well, gynecologist office. I fell asleep after the exam waiting for the doctor to come back in and tell me everything was okay or whatever. And I fell asleep. And after a while, I don't know how long because I was asleep, but the office manager was making the rounds, checking the exam rooms before she left, and she found me asleep in the exam room. So that was embarrassing, and of course she was apologizing profusely for leaving me in there and forgetting about me, but I thought whatever, but I switched doctors after that. So anyway, love you, Jonesy, and love all the weirdos out there. Keep doing what you do. Keep be nice to each other. Be friendly, and have a great week. It's hump day, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
You are receiving a collect call from the Lee County Sheriff's Department office. Please press 1 to accept the charges, press 2 to deny the charges, and disconnect the call.
Hey, Jonesy, thanks a lot for taking the charges, man, for this call. I appreciate you taking this because I heard you on the podcast. This is John White from Florida speaking, and me and my wife, Sammy, we got ourselves apparently into some kind of trouble we didn't know was a problem at all, but you talked about it, and it seems like there's some sort of problem with some filming that we did of some family activities. I mean, we just did what other people do. You know, we see this on Facebook all the time, people posting pictures of their family with their pets, their dogs, their cats. You know, they got their hamsters or their pet snake, and that's all we did was just post some family-friendly photos on there. So, you know, it all kind of all starts back when one night Sammy and we were in bed and we were having some private time, and, you know, we took some stuff to bed like some whipped cream and some strawberries and some chocolate sauce and some peanut butter, and we were kind of playing around with them in bed, and I guess there was some peanut butter left over on a little place we were kind of using it as some lubricant, and I guess there was some left over on her. She didn't get cleaned off, and the next day she's laying on the couch taking a nap. And our dog Buddy, the golden retriever, came right up and he just started sniffing around and started licking like crazy. Turns out if you use peanut butter, you can get a dog to lick just about anything. And things just, you know, kind of grew from there, if you know what I mean. And so we were just experimenting, and Buddy, he's a good old boy. And I gotta say, there were no animals harmed in the making of this movie. Now, Buddy was the only one that's big enough to, you know, interest my wife. The other ones are smaller dogs. But Buddy was not harmed in any way. And, you know, this was like him coming sniffing around, and he started the whole thing off. So, I mean, he's a good boy. He's a good boy. He's not looking for trouble. So, Jonesy, I just have to defend Buddy and our reputations, and I thank you for the time for taking this call.
Hey, Jonesy, I just wanted to start off with a disclaimer by saying that everything in this voicemail is a joke. So here we go. Oh my God. I'm an angry Florida woman. Oh my God. I don't know what to do. I feel triggered. I feel so triggered by Weird AF News. I'm hearing all this news about my state. I'm hearing about statues being stolen. I'm hearing about a kid carjacking his grandma and apologizing for it. I hear just an acorn and a police officer shooting a car with a guy inside it while the acorn. It's like, oh. I think think the government should put a little black on my Listen Now feed, so that I won't have to worry about listening to all these scandalous Weird AF News podcast episodes. And I think that they should ban me. They should ban me from browsing podcasts that have inappropriate content like Weird AF News. Oh, 'cause I feel so triggered, you know. I mean, I would like to sue the creator, even though he's just, you know, very independent and he's just one person. There's nobody else on his team. There's nobody else that works for him, but I really feel like I need to sue him. I need to save the kids. I need to save the kids from listening. Save the children. Save the children. No, never mind the animal cruelty and the large homeless population that we have and the human trafficking. We need to save the children from Weird AF News. I don't think we'll ever have good luck with our lives until we talk to Apple and Google and say, hey, we need to put restrictions on these podcasts.
Florida lawmakers pass a bill banning balloon releases. A Florida man beat his victim with a coconut after stealing his tricycle. A Florida man held a woman at gunpoint after learning she was transgender. And a Florida man claims his bomb threat was actually flirting at the airport. These are weird stories for Friday on Weird AF News. These weird stories are all from the state of Florida, because on Friday we only do weird news from Florida on Weird AF News. It's called Florida Friday. That's right. Florida Friday, Weird AF News. Let's do it. Florida lawmakers are banning balloons. This is perfect timing. I've been wanting someone to do something about inflation, so they're going to ban balloons. The Florida legislature passed a bill Tuesday banning balloon releases. Oh, not balloons, but balloon releases. You can't release balloons. You often see balloon releases at things like weddings, memorials, and gender reveals. Well, if you're not going to allow balloon releases at gender reveals, how are we supposed to know the genitalia of your incoming child, man? How are we supposed to know if it's a boy part or a girl part if we don't allow the balloon releases? You guys know how it goes. They release a blue balloon or a pink balloon. Just for once, I'd love to see them release like a bunch of red balloons and be like, just kidding, an abortion. Oh, that's so dark. That's so dark. I apologize. It's Friday, Jonesy. How about a little levity? Okay. So this thing is called House Bill 321. They always got to give it a catchy name. And it passed with a vote of 102-9. Wow. They really want to ban balloon releases in Florida. But if you ban the balloon releases, what are the dolphins going to use for condoms? Because I think they use discarded balloons that they find in the ocean. If it doesn't get caught in their blowhole, they use it for condoms. No, I really support this because it endangers wildlife for sure, and it's a lot of pollution. As someone that loves animals and hates gender reveal parties and static electricity, I totally support the banning of balloon releases. Now, if only Florida could get their act together and start banning public male genitalia in Walmart parking lots, that'd be very helpful because there's a lot of that going on. This bill would make the intentional release of balloons illegal, so accidental balloon release not illegal. So let's just say you're a little kid at Disney and you got a balloon and then you accidentally, oh, there it goes. You won't be thrown in jail. That's good to know. And they're classifying this as a non-criminal littering infraction. The bill cites the wildlife and environmental dangers from balloons as motivation for this bill. Yeah. How woke of Florida, huh? This is so unlike Florida to be so woke. I have a feeling there's something else going on behind it. Did DeSantis see a gay couple release some balloons and was like, not on my watch? Balloons are gay. Here's a quote from this bill. It says, balloons take years to break down and often end up in waterways or the ocean where they can be swallowed by marine animals. That's right. This is exactly why California banned the plastic straw years ago. Everybody laughed at us, too. Oh, you guys banning plastic straws because that turtle was found with a plastic straw stuck in its snout. Ha, ha, ha. You're so woke. You're so woke. And now look what Florida's doing, huh? Huh? You're so woke, Florida. You're so woke, right back at you, bro. Now, it says here, according to the bill, anyone who takes part in or organizes a balloon release would face a $150 fine for littering. But how do you trace the balloon back to the bad guys is what I'm wondering. You know, in other words, how do you enforce it? There's going to be a bunch of citizens arrests. Little girl, you're in trouble. I just saw you release a couple balloons. Oh, it says here children age 6 and under are exempt from the rule. So that's the workaround to that. I mean, this all seems like a nice gesture and all, but I mean, at the end of the day, how do you enforce it? And it's awfully strange that Florida's doing such things when they have all these other problems. I mean, right now in Florida, you have radioactive roads and a complete measles outbreak at schools, and they're banning balloon releases. Just seems strange to me. But then again, I can never apply reason to what's going on in Florida. A tricycle thief beat a victim with a coconut at a Florida Winn-Dixie. That's just a lovely title that should be on T-shirts and bumper stickers. Tricycle thief beats a victim with a coconut at a Florida Winn-Dixie. You guys know what a Winn-Dixie is? It's a supermarket chain. I've never been, but I guess it's probably like the Ralph's of Florida. Do you guys know Ralph's? That's what we have in Los Angeles. It's kind of the crappy supermarket. Anyways, I've gone off the rails already. A Florida man, we have to assume it's a Florida man because it's Florida Friday. A Florida man confronted a suspect who stole his tricycle outside of a Florida Keys Winn-Dixie. Nice to know that Florida men are riding tricycles down there. Oh, can't handle the 2 wheels? Oh, not when I'm on the meth and the booze. I'm on the malt liquor. Give me my 3 wheels. Can't handle the 2 wheels today. I just love to imagine a bunch of drunk idiots riding around in tricycles down in Florida. Okay, so this guy confronted a suspect who stole his tricycle. Unfortunately, he wound up on the wrong end of a coconut. He was struck by a coconut. It's quite the weapon. I guess it's better than a handful of iguanas. Those are sharp. Now, according to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Amado Dominguez Quevedo, age 59, also bit the victim during the coconut beating. There's a lot going on here, guys. We got tricycles. We got clearly malt liquor and meth. We got some biting and a coconut assault. This guy's facing multiple criminal charges. Deputies were called to the Winn-Dixie at 3 p.m. Yeah, just middle of the day. Normal Florida Winn-Dixie behavior. It states that the fight ensued after a man confronted Domingo for stealing his tricycle, which the victim had bought on Amazon for $260. That's a very important feature of it. In case you guys are wondering what adult tricycles go for these days, I mean, I'm assuming it's an adult tricycle. I don't see a photo of it. Then again, I would have to see a photo of the tricycle and then another object in the picture to give me an idea on what the size of the tricycle would be. Is it a kiddie tricycle or an adult tricycle? But anyways, this is what a tricycle goes for on Amazon, $260. I don't know why they put that in here. How much was the coconut, I wonder? Was it? Dominguez Quevedo became violent soon after, wielding a coconut and striking the victim in the head with the coconut repeatedly. Man, imagine getting whacked in the head repeatedly by a coconut wielding Florida man. In addition to the multiple head bashings by a solid fruit, the victim was also bit several times, the report states. Several times. Deputies say the victim was hurt in the attack, but not seriously. Oh, thank goodness he got away without any serious injuries, being bitten and whacked by a coconut. Thankfully, he didn't get run over by his own tricycle. It says Dominguez Quevedo's belligerence continued as deputies attempted to take him into custody at the Winn-Dixie. Deputies say Dominguez purposely, quote, became limp. All right, well, this story took a turn. A plot twist. You know, those Florida men at Winn-Dixies, they're usually a little aroused down there because they're on so many chemicals. This guy became limp. He used his dead body weight. They're talking about dead body weight. You know, when you just kind of become a dead fish? I think that's called the dead fish move, so that no one can lift you or move you. It's helpful during arrests in Winn-Dixie parking lots, I find. He used his dead body weight to obstruct them as they tried to place him inside a patrol car. Oh, it says here, Dominguez then spat in the deputy's face. Oh, Dominguez! He's not going down without a fight. He's doing the dead fish spit in your face act. It says this incident was not Dominguez Quevedo's first time causing trouble at the very same Winn-Dixie. Oh, he's a regular over there. You can find him in the coconut section biting people. According to deputies, on February 4th, he hit a store worker in the face, but that employee declined to pursue charges. See, this is why you never decline to pursue charges against a violent Florida man. Says here, our Florida man, star of the story, Dominguez Quevedo, lives coincidentally, you're not going to believe this, on Coconut Palm Drive. See, it all comes full circle, doesn't it? A Florida man held a woman for ransom in a motel after learning she was transgender. This is a Miami story. They're lovely. Police in Miami arrested a Florida man, they say, held a woman for ransom at gunpoint in a motel room. This was after learning the woman is a transgender individual. We have Joshua DeBarge Lucas, age 34, taken into custody for the alleged kidnapping that took place at the Saturn Motel in Miami. Joshua grew very upset following the completion of a sex act when he learned the victim was transgender, according to the police report. Oh, sounds like Joshua's got a little buyer's remorse after finding out that he was just sexually pleased by a transgender. I'm wondering what occurred during the completion of a sex act. It was a way in which it wasn't completely obvious that this was a transgender. Maybe Joshua had his eyes closed during these feats of strength. I know sometimes I like to close my eyes and imagine I'm somewhere else. Okay. It says Joshua allegedly called a friend, and together they held the victim at gunpoint. Wait. You called a friend? Hey, man, you got to get over here. I'm in some trouble. What happened, man? Well, I just had a lovely love-making session, but I didn't realize I was making love to someone that I disapprove of. I totally disapprove of this lifestyle, and now I'm in quite a quandary, and I don't know what to do. So if you could get over here and help me, I don't know, maybe we can hold them for hostage for a little while. This is probably going to end well. I don't know how else you deal with this. I mean, I could just walk away, but why do that? Let's get some crime involved. Okay, now the story goes on to describe the Florida man and his friend's plan. This is what they did. They held the transgender person at gunpoint and forced her to send a text message to a friend that read, "Text me." This was at 5 o'clock. When the friend responded with a FaceTime call, Joshua, the Florida man, reportedly went on the phone's camera and demanded $200 from the friend of the transgender, or they would hurt the victim in that motel room. He reportedly told the friend he felt, quote, disrespected by the victim, and further expressed concern that a sexual encounter with a trans woman would violate his beliefs as a Black Hebrew Israelite. Never heard of this Black Hebrew Israelite. This is a Southern Poverty Law Center designated hate group. Oh, it's a hate group. Okay. A member of a hate group just made sweet love to a transgender. Now, that'll put him in a pickle. Surely. What do I do? This is against my xenophobia. I'm going to have to figure out a way to get through this. I know. We'll get my gun and we'll hold him for ransom. It says here, according to the police, Joshua, the Florida man, told the victim's friend over FaceTime that the pair were high at the time of the sex act, and he only became angry after he sobered up. So he said a lot to the victim's friend over FaceTime. Like, can you just tell me how it all went down? Well, I mean, all right. Well, I didn't know this is a transgender person. We were a little high at the time we were making sweet love. And I wasn't fully aware. So, it's a total misunderstanding. We still want $200 though, or we're going to shoot. We're going to do something, but we want our money. It says here, Lucas's unidentified friend reportedly was seen on screen flashing a gun and participating in the call, demanding a ransom. I don't know how you talk your friend into this. Yeah, man, just sit next to me with the gun. Now, after I say, send that money, you wave it around. And it maybe pointed at the screen. I don't know. I've never done this before. I held someone for ransom. But I think you just pointed at the screen. Or maybe point it off camera to the transgender person I just made love to. This is the stupidest plan ever. This makes me think that the Black Hebrew Israelites are not only a ridiculous, racist hate group, but they're also extremely stupid. The victim's friend apparently recorded the call, which they then shared with the police immediately after the call ended. Yeah, how did you think this was going to go, bro? Police quickly responded to the motel where they found the victim. However, Joshua and his accomplice had already fled the scene and probably went back to the bar that he met the transgender at. I can't understand how this happened. I was just hanging out at the Backdoor Club, and then next thing you know, I'm with a transgender in a hotel room. Oh, wow. Supersize the dumb in Florida, don't they? Yay! A Florida man claims that his bomb threat was an attempt to flirt with a passenger at the airport. Well, I never thought to flirt in this manner. I always try giving them compliments. I never thought, hey, baby, there's a bomb in my pants about to explode. What do you think of that? Hey, baby, I got a bomb in my pants. Got your name all over it. Oh, honey, you dropped a bomb on me. By the way, I also got a bomb. This is so ridiculous, man. We have here a Miami man. He was arrested after trying to flirt with a passenger by joking around that he had a bomb in his bag at a Florida airport. Why would you think that this would work? What girl's going to be impressed by you having a bomb in your bag? I just don't understand that. You come here often? Yeah. I got the bomb diggity. You feel me? You know what I mean? I got that bomb diggity. Security! We have here a Florida man, Alan Borinsky. Borinsky is a 70-year-old Miami resident. He told the police he was, quote, trying to be funny when he made the joke at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport last week. Alan Borinsky, the Florida man, was sitting at Gate 11 in Terminal 4 and was overheard by two witnesses telling a passenger, quote, if the bomb in my bag goes off prematurely, I apologize to your family in advance. So this guy's attempt at flirting with a lady at the airport was to threaten her entire family? Wow, man. It's a little backwards in Florida, the whole romance. I've never been on a dating app in Florida. I wonder what that's like. Probably very similar pickup lines you might find. Oh, I feel so bad for women in Florida. Two witnesses that heard Borinsky say that became alarmed and reported his remarks to the police. Not only did he say this outrageous thing to a female passenger at the airport, but loud enough for others to hear. You don't even say that word bomb in the airport. Everybody knows that. That's like airport etiquette 101. You don't say the word bomb at any moment while you're there. This guy, man, got away with the ladies. What was his backup line if this didn't work? Hey, I might just have to hijack this plane and take you and me to an island. Hey, what do you think about that? Don't be alarmed when I pull out a gun on this flight. It's all for you. All for you. Alan Borinsky, the Florida man, acknowledged to the authorities that he knew what he said was wrong, but continued to do it anyway. He's really looking for love in all the wrong places. He's been charged with second-degree felony for making a false bomb report. There is a Florida statute that finds any action to knowingly make a false report concerning placing or planting of any bomb, dynamite, or deadly explosive or weapon of mass destruction constituting a felony in the second degree. And I'd imagine at the airport, maybe even more stern penalties might be applied. Says here, a similar incident occurred in Fort Myers, Florida recently when a 20-year-old man admitted to the police that he sent a bomb threat to himself. He did that as an attempt to get revenge on someone. Sounds like a very strange setup. Well, it's not stranger than holding a transgender person in a motel room for $200. Yay! I want to ride my tricycle. Ah, man, I haven't ridden a tricycle since I was a very small niño. But apparently there's adult tricycles, so I'm going to look these up. Let's go buy adult tricycle. Oh, we got, these things are, there's an electric tricycle. Wow, $2,000. That's a little beefy for me. But yeah, you can get an adult tricycle for $109 on Amazon here. Bed Bath & Beyond sells one for $191. Bed Bath & Beyond sells tricycles. Oh, there's a little basket in the back. You can put your puppy. You could put your all of your meth equipment. You can put all your drug paraphernalia in your tricycle basket. Paraphernalia. Anyways, I was unaware of the tricycle culture that's going on down in Florida. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for joining me for this episode of Florida Friday. I appreciate everybody sending me Florida stories the past 48 hours. Very helpful. Made my job easier. And I think we did a thorough and good job on Florida Friday. Yep. Please feel free to share the episode with a friend over the weekend. I don't know what you're into. I'm doing some shows. If you'd like to attend, go to my Instagram at Funny Jones. Both shows are in Hollywood, so you'd have to be in the Hollywood area. But yeah, just reach out to me. I can make it work for ya. And what else? Oh, if you would like to support the show, that would be so appreciative. You can do so by going to weirdafnews.com. That's the official website of Weird AF News, and you can buy Jonesy a coffee. Or you can join the Patreon. That's a great thing to do. The Patreon, you can also download the Patreon app on your phone, do a search for Weird AF News. And that's like joining a little special Weird AF News fan club, in that once you're a member of the Patreon, you get access to extra Weird AF content that Jonesy puts inside the Patreon. So it's pretty cool. So consider that as a great way to show your support for Weird AF News, for Jonesy and his one-man Inside a Closet production. If you would like to call the show, you can leave a voicemail for me. The number is 646-450-2012. I love to hear from my listeners. And if you'd like to email me, the email is funnyjones@gmail.com. Well, I hope you're having an amazing weekend. I know I am. Yeah. A woman impersonated an FBI agent and attempted to close down a Waffle House. A Canadian man returned from vacation to find a letter from the government saying that he's dead, and an elderly couple used Morse code training to escape an assisted living facility. These are the weird stories for Monday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast in the universe, recorded inside a closet 5 days a week. All right, come on, I got some weird stories from all over the world. A woman impersonated an FBI agent and tried to shut down a Waffle House. The story is out of Tennessee. An East Tennessee woman claimed to be an FBI agent. She attempted to close down a Waffle House because its workers allegedly sold drugs from the back of the restaurant. Yeah, we all know the employees sell drugs from the back of the restaurant. That's why we like the Waffle House. That's why we go to the Waffle House, especially late night. You know, you can re-up on your drugs and get some pancakes while you're there. Her name is Kimberly Michelle Gonzalez. She's 60 years old. She's charged with criminal impersonation. She said she was an FBI agent trying to shut down the Waffle House. How's the FBI going to shut down a Waffle House? The health inspectors can't even close the Waffle House, and it's obvious it should be closed. It's not the cleanest place. Tornadoes can't bring down a Waffle House. Hurricanes can't bring down a Waffle House. Lady, how are you going to bring down a Waffle House with your little fake badge? Not even local vagrants shooting up in the baño of the Waffle House will shut down the Waffle House. Let's get into the details. I want to know how she tried to pull this off. The woman allegedly said that she had come to the Waffle House to shut down the restaurant because drugs were being sold in the rear of the business. She claimed she was an FBI agent. The employee allegedly said that she asked the woman to produce identification and to prove she was an FBI agent, and the woman showed her a brown notebook with a Tennessee badge on it. When the employee pressed her to produce a real badge, the woman allegedly refused to do so. Yeah, these Waffle House employees are rather savvy, and I'd imagine a lot of them have had some interaction with authorities before. I mean, a Waffle House employee can tell the difference between a fake badge and a real one, is what I'm saying. It says here, shortly after the incident, our fake FBI girl, Gonzalez, was interviewed by Officer Klein, who says that Kimberly Gonzalez allegedly repeated the story that she worked for the FBI. So she's just sticking to her guns. You think that the police can't figure this out, that you work for the FBI? She's very committed to her role. The officer said he spoke with another witness who confirmed that Kimberly Gonzalez claimed to be a federal agent. This story is so bizarre on so many levels. I don't know what you think you're going to do for your community by shutting down a Waffle House, except for anger them. You can't shut down our Waffle House. That's where I get all my carbs. I pour syrup over my carbs. Oh, man, they got the best carbs over there. I mean, if you think this is the only place that's distributing drugs, I don't know. And then to think that you could show up as and say you're an FBI agent and they're going to just close the doors and lock it up. Did you think that was really going to happen? What did you play out in your mind that was going to happen? Yeah, all right, clear this place out. All right, manager, put the padlock on it. This place is OOB, also known as out of business. Sure, I'm an FBI agent. I'm wearing Crocs, but sometimes I do that. A man returned home from vacation to find a letter from the government saying that he's dead. Isn't that nice of the government? I'm happy to know that they let you know by mail. I would hate not to know that I was dead. The letter, though, a little archaic. At least send a text, you know what I mean? Like, give me a text. Yeah. This gentleman is a Canadian individual. He returned home from an extended vacation in Costa Rica. When he got back to his home in Montreal, he got the surprise of a lifetime in the mail. The Quebec government thinks that he is dead. In a 14-page letter from the Ministry of Justice, the government wrote that it is hoping to collect money from Nick Fatoros' estate for a speeding ticket. The problem is, Fatoros is very much alive. Here's a quote from Nick, our allegedly dead Montreal man. I was laughing. I said, wow, I'm dead? Well, that's news to me. Yeah. All right, let's unpack this. So the government sends him a letter saying, we want a speeding ticket paid out of the estate of this dead individual. Now, the 34-year-old dead man, Nick, in the story, says that he contested a speeding ticket from 2022 and then left for an extended vacation. This guy's always going on vacations. He's got a good life. He's got a pretty good life for a dead guy, huh? Nick says, yeah, I completely forgot about the ticket. I came back, I got this letter. Obviously, I was taken aback. Pretty thankful my mother never saw it as well. I mean, if she would open this and I was off on my travels, God forbid, she would say, what is going on? Did he die on the vacation? Now, it says here, Nick has done some follow-up efforts on his own. He's tried to call the government to prove that he is actually alive, but he wasn't able to speak to anyone. He said, it's very hard to get through to the government. Well, nice to know that the same problems we have in life are the same problems we will have in death. Trying to get to the government. Hey, I just learned that I'm dead, guys. I'm sorry. I was away and I couldn't respond. What are the next steps now that I'm dead? Like, where do I report? Do I need a passport for where I'm going? Can I get a window seat, please? I'd love a window seat on my way to hell. Also, I'd love to know my cause of death, if you could tell me that. I mean, must I pay for my own autopsy? How do we go about this, government? We have a woman here a man named William Corbutley, who says, quote, sometimes it happens, you have mistakes like this, but they're really very rare. Nick needs to just declare that he's alive and quickly. It won't only affect this traffic ticket, it would affect all of his, succession and everything. Nick says that he just wants to simply prove that he is not a dead man walking. He says, yeah, my next step is just to figure this out. Tell him, hey, look, maybe this was a mistake. Maybe this was a typo. I don't know. Who knows? One way you could tackle this, Nick, is if you just show up at the insurance office to claim your own life insurance policy payout. The insurance company will fix this real quick, for sure. They'll do anything not to pay out. This isn't the first story I've covered on this podcast about someone who was thought to be dead by government when they were actually alive. And I always think about that scene in Monty Python and the Holy Grail. You know the one. Bring out your dead. No, I'm not dead yet. I'm actually getting better. No, you're not. You'll be stone dead in a minute. I don't want to go on the cart. Oh, don't be such a baby. An elderly couple uses Morse code training in order to escape an assisted living facility. Oh, I love this story. Couple elderly people breaking out of a living facility. Freedom! They probably just wanted to go for a walk. It says here they listened and they listened until the beeps and the boops and the boop, 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 boop finally made sense to them. And then it was time to make their great escape. We have here a very brave husband and wife. Pretty crafty, too, in my opinion. They briefly escaped from a secure memory unit at an assisted living facility in Lebanon, Tennessee, by using military experience with Morse code in order to decipher and memorize the code to an electronic door lock. Wow, fascinating. Well, putting those skills to use, buddy. The couple who have dementia and Alzheimer's disease are not identified in the state records, it says. I don't know why they're not identified. They should be identified. If they're not identified, how did you retrieve them? It says they went missing from the Elmcroft living facility in Lebanon only for about 30 minutes before a stranger found them walking down a road 2 blocks from the living facility. Now, they didn't get far, unfortunately, and only 30 minutes of freedom. I feel so bad for them. And by the way, how real is this dementia and Alzheimer's situation if they were crafty and smart enough to memorize codes and break out? It sounds like they shouldn't be in there in the first place. They're in a secure memory unit. Obviously, the memory's working just fine. Although I don't know what they did when they were outside. Maybe they were just roaming around the grass or something. They have a very limited memory. That could be the case. Let's keep reading about... This is like the Jason Bourne of elderly people. So they found the couple. They brought them back to the Elmcroft. Staff were curious about how the couple had escaped from the facility's memory unit, which is secured by a locked door with an electronic keypad. The elderly man said that he previously worked with Morse code in the military and was able to use this experience to learn the door code by listening as staff punched in numbers into the keypad. I mean, it doesn't sound like that's a Morse code situation. It sounds like he just remembered the pattern of the beeps and bops on the machine and then was able to, record them over days or weeks and then finally put it all together. It's strange that they didn't mix up the password or the passcode on the door more frequent than this. You'd imagine they would change it every day or every week, especially in a memory unit, because the people that are in the memory unit have to kind of be, I guess, locked down in a sense, because you can't really have them wandering. It says here, as a result of the escape, Elmcroft was fined $2,000 by state officials. The living facility told state regulators it will try to prevent similar incidents by checking on residents more frequently and scheduling the man who escaped for more walking time outside the facility with a staff member present. It sounds like the man and wife just wanted to go for a walk. You don't allow them to go out for a walk? I mean, every day staff should bring people out for a walk. Although, I mean, they're very understaffed and underpaid. These facilities can be very horrible. I don't know the details of this particular one. Some are very high-end and lovely, and then some are just no bueno. You don't want to find yourself there. It's a tough life. I mean, I don't even dread dying so much as I dread being stuck in a prison like this. Imagine that. The idea that if you don't pass away young, you basically end up in a prison neglected by underpaid and overworked staff, by your own family, crappy food. This is why I got the hack, guys, all right? I'm not having children, so no one's going to be able to force me into a place like this. I'd have to be... Only doctors could probably put me into a place like this, I'd imagine. My children won't do it. I'll tell you right now, I won't have any children to do it. I have a plan already on how I'm going to live out my final days on this planet. I'm going to take my little Social Security
having children, so no one's going to be able to force me into a place like this. I'd have to be
sort of reasonable.
Only doctors could probably put me into a place like this, I'd imagine. My children won't do it. I'll tell you right now, I won't have any children to do it.
I'm just
I have a plan
the rest
already.
Of my days drinking whiskey and singing karaoke, and I'll probably die on the karaoke mic, and that's a win for me. I would love that. Now, one last statement from the Elmcroft. They say, the safety of our residents is the top priority at our senior living community. We've reported the situation to the state and the families, and we're even changing our exit codes. Yeah, you should change your exit codes and maybe not make them popular song melodies. Can't understand how people got out. I mean, well, what was your passcode? It was doot 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 doot. Yay! Well, I talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. And I talk about moving. I'm not sure what the words are. Did I get it? Hi, my friends. Did you have a nice weekend? I had a lovely weekend. I did some shows. I played some softball. It was amazing. I had some Guinness for St. Patrick's Day. I love Guinness. I really enjoy stouts more than any other beer. So I drink a lot of Guinness regularly anyways, but I was able to really up my Guinness intake on Sunday, and that was lovely. I'm sort of paying the price a little bit today with a slight hangover, but, it was worth it. It's absolutely worth it. I hope you enjoyed your St. Patty's Day. I don't know if you guys celebrate it. It's just a great excuse to get together with friends at a pub and suck down a few pints, as they say. Take a few hundred rips off your vape pen and, just live it up a bit. I want to give thanks and praise to Tammy and James Baird, who bought me a coffee off my website. I'm not sure if this came in a few days ago. I can't remember if I gave them thanks and praise on Friday's episode, but I just want to make sure that I made a note about the coffee they bought me, because they wrote me a lovely note as well. Did I already read this? I'm going to read it again. Yeah, my memory's a little. Maybe I need to be put into a memory unit. They say, Jonesy, you're absolutely hilarious, and you're the first one we listen to the moment the alarm goes off. You have no idea what an amazing blessing a really great laugh is for a great start to the day. Congrats on the 4 million. You've earned every bit of it. Thank you again for just bringing laughter into a sometimes ugly world. Just a very lovely, touching message that I so enjoyed reading. Thank you so much, Tammy and James, for writing this. It made me feel really, really good. I'm so happy that I can bring laughter into a sometimes ugly world. I believe that laughter is really the only appropriate response to this crazy, ugly world that we live in. So my contribution to it, my life while I'm here on the planet, however long that is to try to bring some laughter as often as I can through various means, whether it's my podcast or on stage doing stand-up comedy or my videos that I make. It's nice to get, reaffirming feedback from my efforts like this. So I appreciate that. And thanks for the coffee. If you guys want to buy me coffee like Tammy and James, go to weirdafnews.com, the official website. You can click on the little coffee cup, buy me a coffee, write me a love note like that. You can also join the Patreon there as well, or make a PayPal donation. Of course, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, please consider subscribing on whatever podcast app you're taking this in on, or you might be listening on the YouTube page, so please subscribe. Just FYI, do weird news here 5 days a week, and on Friday it's only weird news from Florida, just so you know what you're getting. And I think it's a great addition to your daily news roundup. So that's just a suggestion. So anyways, I guess that's about it. If you want to email me anything, it's funnyjones@gmail.com. Of course, we have a phone number here if you'd like to call the show because you have an opinion on any of the stories I did, or you just wanted to say hi and introduce yourself, or you want to tell me I'm horrible. Yeah, call, leave a message. 646-450-2012. I love to hear from my listeners. And I'm on Instagram @funnyjones. All right? Okay, well, we'll check in tomorrow again. Please join me tomorrow. And good luck with your life, man. The famous door from the Titanic film sold for over $700,000. The Tennessee Senate passed a bill banning chemtrails, and a man taught printing in prison starts making counterfeit notes following prison. These are the weird stories for Tuesday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast in the universe. The Titanic door sells for over $700,000 at an auction, setting the record for Hollywood memorabilia. You mean the evil door that murdered Jack sold for $700,000? You mean the door that Rose so selfishly hogged, allowing Jack to just drown in that icy cold water, just sold for a record? It says here, yes, indeed, the fateful door from James Cameron's classic film Titanic just sold for auction. The door fetched a whopping $718,750 during the Heritage Auctions Treasures from a Planet Hollywood event. And it was the piece of memorabilia that brought in the very highest amount ever, beating iconic props such as Indiana Jones's bullwhip from the Temple of Doom and Jack Nicholson's famous axe from The Shining. Ooh, I'd love to have that axe from The Shining. Or even the door from The Shining, pieces of it anyways. Did they end up selling that door? Now it says, this famous door from the 1997 film Titanic by James Cameron is very ornate, and it's made of balsa wood. I guess that's a wood that obviously floats. I'll tell you right now, if I had this door in my possession, the first thing I would do is make a video showing everybody that Jack could have actually fit on the door. I would have done some measurements and weight tests just to prove he didn't have to die like that in that icy cold water. Such a shame and unnecessary. Rose just had to take up the whole damn door, though. After that, I'd probably consider opening a Titanic-themed hotel where for $5,000 a night, you can have sex on the door. or get your drawing on the door. Draw me, Jack. There's a lot you could do with that door. It says, in addition to the door, Kate Winslet's dress that she wore during the film's final act sold for $125,000. Fans have famously debated whether both Jack and Rose could have fit on that door, which would have, in theory, saved Jack from freezing to death in the final moments of the Oscar-winning film. It says last year was the film's 25th anniversary, and James Cameron, the director, actually did a test to see whether both could fit on the door using a team of scientists and stunt people. The conclusion was Jack might have lived, but there's a lot of variables, they say. James says, I think his thought process was, I'm not going to do one thing that jeopardizes her. And that's 100% in Jack's character. Yeah, but I mean, he didn't even try, though. I mean, at leleast try. Like, try and get on it, and then if it's sinking, get off it, and then, freeze to death to save her. Yeah, I don't agree. Harrison Ford's whip from the Temple of Doom set a record as the highest valued prop from a franchise at $525,000 at auction. Also, a set of 3 Sankara stones from the film sold for $100,000, as well as the Holy Grail Cup of a Carpenter from The Last Crusade, $87,000. Bill Murray's Red Rose bowling ball from Kingpin sold for $350,000. Jack Nicholson's axe from The Shining, $125,000. Tobey Maguire's black suit from Spider-Man 3, $125,000. And the sneaking shaving cream can that Wayne Knight uses to smuggle dinosaur embryos in Jurassic Park sold for $250,000 at auction. These are all the most expensive items that have been sold at auction from Hollywood films over the years. But the door fetched the most. I think it would be hilarious. Imagine putting the door up somewhere in your home as just some regular working door just for the hell of it and not telling anybody what it really is. That'd be a dope Easter egg in your house, huh? The Tennessee Senate has passed a bill based on the chemtrails conspiracy theory. Excellent work, Tennessee. The Tennessee Senate has passed a bill targeting chemtrails. That's right, guys, chemtrails. Total fantasy. So another law making it illegal to do something that nobody's actually doing. Yeah. This is why I cheat on my taxes. Oops, was that out loud? The bill was sponsored by a Republican, obviously. Monty Fritz is his name. And the bill prohibits federal governments or other entities acting on the federal government's behalf from conducting geoengineering experiments by intentionally dispersing chemicals into the atmosphere. They're concentrating on the activities that may occur within the state of Tennessee. So just any planes going over Tennessee, it looks like. Yeah, I mean, you can't really control the airways of the entire country, Tennessee. But okay, all right. Republicans, they're on it, guys. They're on it. They're afraid of measles vaccinations, but fantasies? Yes, they're protecting you from those. What next? You're going to ban owning Bigfoots? And we want to let you know that we're going to make sure lizard people can't hold public office. And we're enacting a travel ban to New Zealand because it's way too close to the edge of our flat earth as well. We're looking out for the people of Tennessee over here, us Republicans are. You can count on that. Now, the bill being signed off in the Senate will now go to the House Agriculture and Natural Resources Committee on Wednesday. I'm wondering if that committee will explain to the Senate that, no, this isn't real science. The article goes on to say, what are chemtrails? What is the conspiracy theory behind them? Well, in case you don't know, the chemtrail theory is the belief that our government is secretly adding toxic chemicals to the atmosphere from aircrafts, similar to contrails. The cockamamie conspiracy theory says the reasoning behind all of this is for sterilization, reduction of life expectancy, mind control, and weather control. Since the theory came about, various research groups have debunked it, saying there is no credible evidence for the existence of chemtrails. And according to Harvard researchers, if there truly was a large-scale program which involved aircrafts introducing hazardous chemicals into the atmosphere, they would first need to be an operating system to manufacture, load, and disperse such materials. Additionally, if such a system existed, it would require the work and cooperation of thousands of people across the country, which would make it difficult to maintain this as a secret. Of course, none of that makes a damn difference to conspiracy theorists and obviously people in the Tennessee Senate. They're like, my mind is made up. Don't confuse me with facts. I mean, this is all just some redneck nonsense, man. You have the most uneducated people that are trying to pass laws in these places. It's like, it's just ridiculous. The planes are releasing chemicals in the air that affect us all. We want to put a stop to that. Oh, yes, you mean climate change? No. Wait a minute. No. Climate change is a conspiracy promoted by scientists. I'm talking about this YouTuber that I saw saying that they're putting mind control chemicals in jet fuels and whatnots. Can't allow that. So, all in favor. A man that was taught printing in prison starts making counterfeit notes following his release from prison. A 35-year-old man from Madhya Pradesh, India, diligently learned some printing techniques as a vocational skill in prison, only to use these skills to make fake currency notes upon his release. That's called on-the-job training, guys. Prison is like college for criminals. You learn new techniques, or you learn to improve on your own skills so that you can get back out there and make a living for yourself. Prison does not reform people. It's so sad. We need to figure out a way to reform criminals. I don't know how you do that. Anyone have any ideas? Now we have a man named. Okay. Let's try to pronounce this. Bhupendra Singh Dakat. Bhupendra Singh Dakat's return to the world of crime came to light after the police arrested him over the weekend and recovered 95 counterfeit notes, each with a face value of $200. Besides a color printer, 6 ink bottles, and paper that were used to manufacture crisp fake notes were also recovered from his home. Mr. Dakat immediately confessed that he had been printing these bogus notes and pumping them into the market in the district for the past few months since he got out of prison. They say Dakat is involved in 11 criminal cases, including murder, and had been in and out of jail over the years. During his last prison stint in the district, Dakat acquired printing skills as part of a vocational training program designed to assist inmates in reintegrating into society following their release. It says here, according to Vidisha Jail Superintendent Priyadarshan Shrivastava. Priyadarshan Shrivastava. There we go, Jonesy. Good job, buddy. According to this jail superintendent, I could have just said according to the jail superintendent, but I like to make things difficult for myself. The superintendent says that inmates are given offset printing and screen printing training in order to help them eke out a living following their release. Well, you give a man $1, he eats once. You teach a man to print dollar bills, he eats for life. Yeah? The funny thing is, on the outside, I was an honest man, straight as an arrow. I had to come to prison to be a crook. Anybody know what film that quote is from? Call the show, 646-450-2012. Yay! Well, hello, my friends and loyal listeners of the Weird AF News podcast. It's more like an extravaganza of weird news, a party of weird news that melts in your mouth, not in your hand. I appreciate you spending a little time today with your host, Jonesy, in the Weird AF News podcast. I want to let you know that we appreciate all of your correspondence. And Jonesy's very diligently trying to reply to all of your correspondences. So please keep sending those emails to funnyjones@gmail.com. You can even reach out to him on his Instagram account at funnyjones. Oh, would you like to call the show and leave a voicemail? Please do so. We want to hear your lovely, lovely voice. Don't forget to introduce yourself and say where you're from as well. The phone number is 646-450-2012. And it's a hoot. We love to hear from listeners over here at the Weird AF News Production Studios, which is basically a very small closet that's 3.5 feet by 3 feet, I believe. I don't have a measuring tape with me at this time. I can barely be in here with Jonesy. He takes up a lot of space because his nether regions are so huge. Yes. Oh. Anyways, so nice to hear from everyone. We hope that you'll consider supporting the show by going to the official website of Weird AF News. It is weirdafnews.com. Very lovely place to visit. And when you're on the homepage, you can do some things like listen to the podcast. Yes. Subscribe. You can even support the show by joining the Patreon or buying Jonesy a cup of coffee. He loves coffee, if you don't know. He drinks a little bit too much of it for somebody who has chronic acid reflux. I've tried to talk him down, but it's very difficult. He won't move on to tea. You know where I'm from. We drink a lot of tea, a lot of teetotaling going on where I'm from. Jonesy won't have it, though. He says tea is for... Well, I can't say the word on here, but that's what he says. You can imagine what it would be. Anyways, thank you so much, and please join us tomorrow for the Wednesday version of Weird AF News. We love you so much, and take care of yourself. Be good to yourself. Yes, toodaloo. Surprise, surprise, the coffee you're drinking has poop in it. A man paid another man to cut off his feet in an insurance scam attempt. And a human leg was found abandoned on the subway tracks. These are the weird stories for Wednesday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast hosted by a comedian in California. Your coffee has poop in it and other disgusting things. Did you know? This is a story about coffee, but it's also a story about poop. Did you guys know there's poop in your coffee? Wait till you hear what's in a hot cocoa. Shocking news at 11. Nothing like a morning coffee ritual to get the day going, am I right? Sip a little cuppy, listen to some Weird AF News. Maybe you go out on your balcony, man, and smoke a spliff, man. Bombaclat! Did you know as you're loading up on your caffeine, there's a solid chance you're not just drinking coffee. but you're drinking a little bit of poop, a little tiny bit of poop. It gives a whole new meaning to cappuccino. Hey, come on. Bad jokes, guys. It's Weird AF News. Bad jokes. I need some bad jokes, baby, this morning. I need some bad jokes, baby, tonight. Gotta get the bad jokes. Gotta get your love tonight. Bad jokes. Bad jokes. Boop. Back to the article, it says, turns out coffee might not be the only thing that is brown in your cup of coffee. We know this because the folks over at CNN took the time to go through the FDA's list of established standards for food. A list, it says, is in place to keep food defects at a minimum, to pull out some really ghastly, disgusting nuggets. This one seems like you always hear about and you figure that can't really be true, and we wish it weren't the case, but it's pretty gross. This article started with coffee. They looked at FDA regulations, and they're allowing coffee to have an average of 10 milligrams or more per pound. 10 milligrams of poop or more per pound. How much poop is that? I don't know, but that might explain why sometimes, hey, this coffee, it tastes like a crap. Antonio, it tastes like a crap. That's because it is a crap. Don't you know? There's poop in it. Right, now, for this particular article, they dove in a little further. They went beyond coffee, which has poop in it. And there's some other gross stuff in here for your peanut butter, for instance. It says 1 or more rodent hairs, as well as about 30 insect parts, are allowed in your peanut butter for about every 3.5 ounces. Apple butter is also mentioned. You can get up to 4 rodent hairs for every 3.5 ounces there, and it's okay to sell. These are the parameters by the FDA. You're allowed a certain amount of pubes, a certain amount of rodent hairs, a certain amount of insect legs and feet and toes and hairs and little baby tiny eyeballs from mites. Well, you know, it's still healthier than McDonald's. I'm going to tell you right now. Your coffee with all that poop in it, it's still healthier than bottled water. I'd rather be drinking tiny little amounts of poop from flies and whatnot than nanoplastics, I'll tell you right now. Okay, there's some other stuff in here. What do we have? Okay, if you want to make a Bloody Mary, the tomato juice that you use could be allowed to have up to 4 maggots in it, along with a whole bunch of fruit flies. Oh, that's no good in it. A box of spaghetti has as many as 9 rodent hairs in it. Did you know that? I had no idea. Do you like chocolate? Oh, boy. Buckle up for the chocolate parameters. The FDA says it's okay if just a little bit of rodent hair is in your chocolate. Rodent hair in the cornmeal. Insect parts in your macaroni. Poop in your popcorn. Poop in your popcorn. Popcorn poop. Now it says, despite these companies having food safety specialists constantly testing their products to make sure they meet the standards and try and limit the amount of poop and pubes and bug parts that are in these foods, well, we have here Ben Chapman, a professor in agricultural and human studies at North Carolina State University, who explained they really can't prevent these bug parts and poops from getting in the food overall. You're going to get a little bit of that in all of it. Does that make you feel better, guys? Jonesy, how could you do this? Insect parts are gross. Poop in the food is gross. Guys, I'm just keeping it real. You know? I bet you if you measure, every square inch of the earth contains little tiny poop particles. And the little tiny plastic particles are catching up to the poop particles. There's probably a war going on, and you can only see it under a microscope, where all the poop particles are battling all the plastic particles for Earth poison dominance. They're dominating who's going to take down the humans. Eat up, guys. A man paid someone to cut off his feet in an insurance scam attempt. This is a very bizarre incident out of the state of Missouri. A man appeared to try and cash in on an insurance policy by staging an incident. He faked an accident involving farm equipment, and it was quite bloody and quite gruesome, apparently, and involved him losing his feet. The details are pretty strange, though. A man in Willow Springs lost his feet in an apparent staged incident with a brush hog. In case you're wondering what a brush hog is, it's a rotary mower often attached to a tractor. You can envision it, even if you don't have any farm experience, right? A brush hog. Says here the man didn't just lose his feet in that they were cut off, but he actually lost them. Totally lost them, as his severed feet could not be found by responding medics nor law enforcement officers. Imagine being out there all day in a cold Missouri farm field searching for severed feet. That's not a great way to spend the day. It's going to give you PTSD, feet PTSD. We got Sheriff Thompson, who was involved in the search of the missing feet and in this incident, who says he's never seen anything quite like it. It was a poorly executed plan. A poorly executed plan? Well, because apparently Thompson says it was quickly apparent to law enforcement that the incident was staged. The feet were freshly severed. That much was true, according to Thompson, who said the man was in his 60s, and the man who lost his feet was a known paraplegic in his lower extremities. Authorities were immediately curious about the tourniquets on his legs and who put them there in the immediate aftermath of the alleged incident. So a little too quickly, the application of the tourniquets. This guy's all alone, calls the police, "I've lost my feet." They show up, he's already put tourniquets on. I guess it depends on what material the tourniquets were made out of. I mean, if it was a belt and a bandana, then, you know, that could have been put on immediately. Maybe he was wearing a belt. Maybe he was wearing a bandana. Let's keep reading and learn why it was such an obvious scam. Thompson says the wounds were not very convincing. The cuts were too clean to have been done by a brush hog. Here's a quote from Thompson. "If it was done by a brush hog, it would have been a bloody, gory mess, man. I've seen those types of accidents before. This wasn't like that at all." So the investigation continued. Thompson said investigators determined the man was attempting to get money from an insurance claim. Since he never formally filed the false claim, the prosecutors did not exactly press charges. Well, I mean, of course he didn't have time to file a claim. He was still in the farm field tending to his missing appendages. That plan was going to come later on after he spoke to the police and filed his report, his accident report, and then had a cup of coffee with poop in it. Now that Mr. Thompson said that during the investigation, they found out that a man from Florida made the trip to the small town in Missouri to cut off the man's legs with a hatchet, executing an alleged plan to commit insurance fraud. So it comes out that, indeed, this guy paid a man to chop his legs off with his lower legs, his feet. And it was a Florida man. I mean, who else are you going to get to do the job? Who's going to drive all the way up there for $40 and cut off your feet for you? A Florida man. A Florida man will do it for $10 and a bag of meth. Yeah, a Florida man. There's businesses in Florida that strictly offer insurance scam services, I am sure. Well, unfortunately for this Missouri man, he learned the hard way that insurance scams are not very easy. He tried this one and was totally defeated. You know, 'cause it's just not easy. This one was very convoluted. It obviously stumped him. And he's going to have to foot the hospital bill after this, sorry to say. From here on out, he's going to have to toe the line, you know what I mean? Even if he went to court, I mean, he doesn't have a leg to stand on, does he? All right, bad puns. I should have warned you about the bad puns. Now, you're probably wondering, where did the feet end up? Did they end up finding the feet? Well, we got some news here. According to Thompson, a couple of days after, we got a call that a relative found them feet in a bucket that was behind some tires. So we went and got them. Went and got them? Why? Why would you go and get them? They're not, I mean, can you reattach them days later? Oh, the Florida man had left them in a bucket behind some tires. That wasn't the deal. You were supposed to hang them around the telephone pole with all the sneakers. Yay! A human leg was found abandoned on a subway track. The story's out of New York City. Someone's leg has been found abandoned on a New York subway track, according to the police, sparking an investigation into who it once belonged to and how they lost it. Abandoned. I love how they describe it as abandoned, as though it's like deliberate, as though someone was like, you know what, I don't need this leg anymore. Chuck it on the subway tracks. The NYPD said the leg was found at 1 p.m. on Saturday near the Bronx. This is just a typical day on the NYC train, by the way. This is just a typical day riding the MTA. No details were released about the leg, such as whether it appears to be from a male or a female, nor the possible age of its owner. New York's medical examiner is now examining this leg to find out more details and potentially, solve this mystery. Yeah, whose leg is it? Perhaps it belongs to the mole people. Have you guys heard of the mole people? There's a whole documentary on these mole people. They decided to live in the subway tunnels, these mole people. I don't know how they do it. I guess over the years, their eyes have just adjusted to the darkness. They're like possums now, living under there, or bats. Perhaps they sort of travel through the tunnels using sonar. This is what I'm guessing. I've never seen the documentary. I'd like to. It seems fascinating. There's another one about the people living underneath the city of Las Vegas as well. There's mole people all over the place, guys. Maybe this is one of their legs. Anyone else at this point of the story wondering how the hell Jonesy found a second leg story to put in this episode? Guys, I'm good like that. All right. New York's medical examiner is on the case. They also want you to know that, it's not just legs. Thousands of items are lost across the city's sprawling transport network every month, including all manner of things, such as legs, a blender, funeral urns, a welder's mask. These are strange choices to put in the article. Completely unrelated. Yeah, a welder's mask, a blender, a funeral urn, a body part. Okay. Just want to let you know that you could find any sort of common thing. Some of these aren't really common, bro. Finding funeral urns, welder's masks aren't really common things to find. I've never even seen one, I don't think. And of course, a leg, an abandoned leg. Should be pretty obvious whose leg it is. It's just look for a guy that's just hopping around the subway platform, right? Just have the authorities make a notification, make an announcement. Anyone missing a leg, please notify authorities. Please bring proof that this lost item is yours, such as a bloody stump that needs a leg. Cut to the guy bringing in his stump and then fitting it on the leg. Oh, this one isn't it. This one doesn't fit. Anyways, I think I left mine in Central Park. This couldn't be it anyways. I think I know whose leg this is. It's the Black Knight from the Monty Python Holy Grail movie. 'Tis but a scratch! Well, hi, everybody, and thanks for spending a little time with the Weird AF News podcast today. I hope you were able to get a couple of chuckles out of it, and at the least, maybe you learned a little bit about the weird world that we're all living in right now. It just seems like it's getting stranger and stranger, doesn't it? I feel like I'm living in a psychedelic reality every day. It's not bad. Could be worse. Anyways, I want to give a shout out to someone who joined the Patreon. Yeah, Tristan Lee joined the Patreon. I got an email this morning letting me know. And I have sent Tristan Lee a welcome email in the Patreon. So just want to give a big shout out where it's due to Tristan for supporting Weird AF News by becoming a member of the Patreon. It's a great way to do it. It's like buying Jonesy a beer every month. It's a pretty nice gesture, I would say. Anyways, Tristan, please enjoy the extra content that's in the Patreon. I put in a video in there this morning, as a matter of fact. And that's some pretty cool, weird stuff in there. It's a little extra. But if you're interested in checking it out, go to patreon.com/weirdafnews or the official website, weirdafnews.com, and you can click on the Patreon banner. Or you can just simply download the Patreon app on your smartphone and do a search for Weird AF News, and that's where you'll find me. That's where you'll find us, because it's an entire group. There's over 100 people in the Patreon, and it's growing every week. Anyways, I'm grateful for all your support. If you want to email me something, it's funnyjones@gmail.com. My Instagram's @funnyjones, and we have a phone number here. You can leave me a voicemail, 646-450-2012, if you would like to make a comment on any of the stories that I covered this week or answer any of the questions that I posed, feel free to call and leave a voicemail there. And I guess that's about it. It was nice spending some time with you as always, and we'll do it again tomorrow. How about that, eh? And good luck with your life, man. A Florida woman says she wasn't shoplifting. She was playing a game called 21. Florida is about to ban and criminalize alternative meat sources. A Florida man touched himself on a child's bicycle in a Walmart parking lot. And Florida Governor Ronnie D signs a bill that will increase the size of wine bottles. These are the weird news stories for Friday on Weird AF News. They're all from the state of Florida because that's what I do. On Friday, it's only weird news from Florida, our favorite place in the entire universe. It's Florida Friday on Weird AF News. Let's get right to it. A woman was arrested for shoplifting. She says she was playing a game of 21. A game of 21. Never heard of this. Is this some sort of TikTok challenge invented by a degenerate teenager? The game of 21 that I know is a poker game that I like to play at the casino because it's very simple. It just requires some very simple arithmetic, which is pretty much never heard of it. Is it, if you win, do you get 21 months in prison? Then you won, lady. You won. This Florida woman, she won. She was arrested earlier this week in Flagler County. The deputies say that she admitted to walking out of a Walmart with a shopping cart full of stolen goods. I'll tell you right now, Walmart in Florida, that's where it's happening. That's where it's going down. You got people trying to buy children in the parking lot. People using sex toys in the aisles. Shoplifting's going on. It's wine being drunk out of Pringles cans. I've covered all sorts of crazy Florida Walmart stories. The police say they were called to the Walmart on Monday at 6:26 p.m. to investigate a reported theft. According to the sheriff's office, the caller explained that this woman, our Florida lady, Amber, when you meet a Florida Amber, you know what's going down with Amber. Amber makes horrible decisions. Florida Ambers always making bad decisions. Florida Ambers just like leave their kids at home and go on a vacation with some dude they met on Tinder for a week. They just do that. This is Florida Amber for you. Apparently, our Florida lady, Amber, age 30, had passed all points of sale and then refused to show her receipt for the cart full of items. So, when you leave and there's someone there, they want to look at your receipt. I guess you're supposed to show them the receipt. I usually do. I read somewhere that you didn't have to do that, that they were actually, it was a breach of law or privacy or something for them to ask for a receipt. So I don't know. To me, it seems like a gray area as far as the law goes. But I'd imagine if you refuse to show the receipt, you're gonna raise some eyebrows. It's gonna slow you down a little bit. It says the Florida woman reportedly moved the approximately $1,030 in stolen goods to a vehicle before fleeing on foot after realizing that someone was watching her. Wait a minute. So she put the stolen goods in her car and then ran away? That was her plan? As if they're not going to trace the car to her? Wow. Meth makes you so creative, doesn't it? So stupid. Is this the game of 21? You put the goods in your car and then you run and then you come back to the store after you count to 21. I'm going to guess that's how it works. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Okay, the cops are probably gone. 21. Upon arrival, the deputies, of course, found the vehicle, which had all of the stolen items in the back seat. They then spotted the woman walking toward the store. All right, this is the game, trying to figure out this game of 21. After the deputies made contact with Amber, she admitted that she'd carried a loaded cart full of stolen items to a car, claiming that it was just a random car that she found. Okay. No, I just put him in a rando car, I didn't put it in my car. I mean, come on. Sure, the registration's to me. And that's my bottle of wine on the front seat. But I tell you, it's not mine. Yeah, like you're going to just open a random car. The first car you come to is just magically open. You put the stolen items in there. All right, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around what this game of 21 is. Is it breaking 21 laws on a single property? Because she's on her way here. She also claimed that she stuck her purse inside when she saw law enforcement arriving as well. Okay. No, I put my purse in there too, although it's not my car. Perhaps the game of 21 is how many stupid excuses that are not believable that you can come up with for the police after you've committed a crime. If you can hit 21 ridiculous excuses, you win. According to the investigators, Amber told them that she was playing a game called 21. Okay, which involves this. All right, here we go. We're going to break it down. Here's 21. I want to know how to play 21. Can I play it in California? Does it have to happen in Florida? Does it involve gators? Does it involve STDs? Is it 21 STDs by the end of the day? That sounds like a Florida contest you can actually win. Okay, 21 involves a person grabbing as much merchandise as they can from a store and walking out without paying, all the while trying to not get caught. That's just robbery. That's not a game called 21. That's so stupid. This is what she made up. Now I'm playing a game. It's really fun, right? What you do is you get all these stolen items and you try and get away from the cops. It's so exciting. Well, you won, lady. You won 21 weeks in the slammer. Oh, I got some more quotes from Amber. I scrolled down a little further. Oh, this is rich material. Listen to this. So, Amber can be heard saying in body camera footage that was released by the sheriff's office, quote, "Well, I did it one other time and this time, but I got caught this time. So now I've got to figure out where my purse is and where my merchandise is because now I've got to give all my merchandise back to Walmart." Then the deputy says to her, "Well, this is not really a game." And she says, "It's a game. It is a game." The deputy says, "Well, to you it may be a game, but this is theft." She says, It's a fun game too. It's really fun." And then the deputy says, "Oh, yeah, going to jail is fun." I mean, this is unbelievable back and forth. Oh, I love it. This is one of the greatest... It's one of the greatest Florida theft stories ever, for sure. Oh, this woman is a barrel of laughs. I tell you, hanging out with Amber on a weekend, whoa, you don't know what's going to happen. Better have health insurance and, a bail bondsman on speed dial. Amber was taken into custody, and she changed her story and said that the car hadn't been random. Instead, it belonged to her boyfriend. Here's a quote from her. "My boyfriend doesn't know that I steal, and he doesn't know that I put all this crap in his car neither, so I'm going to be really in trouble with him. But, that's just another thing." No, I mean, you could just tell your boyfriend you're also playing a game. I'm sure he'll accept this explanation. "Honey, there's a lot of stolen merchandise in your bedroom and closet and in your car, and I put some in your parents' house, but I'm just playing this game called 21. It's great. You put 21,000 stolen items in your boyfriend's house. It's amazing." Florida is about to ban and criminalize alternative meat. Yes, over the last few months, Florida legislators have been quietly working to ban and criminalize the production and sale of cell-cultivated meat all across the state of Florida. There's two bills specifically addressing these issues, and they are awaiting the signature of Ronnie Little D. They're on his desk, and he'll probably be pulling out his pen soon to sign this alternative meat ban. Here's a quote from Ronnie Little D. "I know the legislature's doing a bill to try to protect our meat. You need meat, okay? You need it. And we're going to have meat in Florida, I tell you. We're not going to have that fake meat. Like, that doesn't work. That ain't a thing. Fake meat. No, real meat. Florida. Meat. Come on, Ronnie. Ronnie, come on. Get back in your cage. All right, I'll get in the cage. All right. Let me sign it first. I want to sign it like mate. This guy's such a moron. You need meat. You need meat? What is this? This is a commercial from 1942. You need meat. The 4 food groups. You need them. Need a lot of meat, cheese, milk. Drink a big glass of milk and eat a meat. Ronnie, there's so many people who live their entire lives without eating meat. They still live. They're still, I know some of them, lifelong friends of mine. You don't need it. Yeah. Some people want it. I want it. I love it. I tried going vegetarian. I lasted about 3 months back on the meat. For me, it's my personal choice. For some people's personal choice, they don't want meat. Ronnie D, are you aware of this? Are you just this guy? Are you living under a rock, Ronnie D? I mean, I'm joking about him being pulled and locked in a cage. But I mean, he's somewhere where he's unaware, really unaware. Now, the meat that they're referring to here, it's not like alternatives such as Impossible Burgers and Veggie Burgers, that sort of thing. Tofu dogs, this sort of stuff. They're talking about cell-cultivated meat grown in a laboratory, which is, this is on the cutting edge of the food industry. I've covered a story about cell-cultivated, lab-grown meat before on the Weird AF News podcast. It's what they do is they take samples of animal cells and then grow them in the lab, and so then it doesn't require the slaughter of animals on a farm. It's actually meat. It's still meat. It's more meat than an Impossible Burger or a Veggie Burger. It just cuts out that whole, tasteless slaughter of animals. It introduces another fear, though, which is this is a new way of cultivating meat, and that scares some people, obviously, and it scares a lot of people who happen to be in the same political party as good old Ronnie D. They don't like anything new. What is that? What is that new? Get it out of my face, man. Hey, how dare you eat meat that wasn't killed first? We need to kill it, or it just ain't going to work, man. It's not even meat unless you kill it. And the Florida government just loves banning stuff. We're going to ban marijuana. We're going to ban books. We're going to ban vaccinations. We're going to ban gay flags. We're going to ban that fake meat. Meanwhile, tweakers in the parking lots. What's anything going to be done about that? The tweakers in the parking lots should be addressed this issue. Last I checked, there's a home insurance and auto insurance debacle in Florida right now where the rates have gone through the roof. People can't afford home insurance and all of this. In other words, real problems in Florida. Ronnie Little D. I, for one, welcome alternative meat sources. Lab-grown meat, I'll try it. Hey, maybe it tastes better. If it tastes the same, whatever, I'll try.